want to give people a second to get in on this Tuesday. Happy Memorial Day weekend. Hope everybody enjoyed their Memorial Day weekend. Let me get my hat down and whatnot on this Tuesday. How you doing today, Coop?
What up? What up? What up?
What up, world? What up? What up, world? Welcoming everybody into the chat.
Here.
Right. Blessed to be here on this lovely Tuesday. Look, that series yesterday, or I don't want to say yesterday, that game 7 yesterday. I picked Miami originally. I know they said that Miami had a 3% chance of winning that series. Miami went up 3-0, and then Boston came back and won 3 in a row, and then it went to a game 7. Saying all that to say, I'm not happy about either one of these teams going into the finals the way what I just saw, and I'm happy for Miami. Shout out to Miami, but losing 3 in a row, that's not good.
I think the losing 3 in a row may cost them the title because I would tell you that had they had finished this off sooner, I probably would have picked them to beat Denver. I think Denver's just too good and too well rested and too much in a rhythm.
Yeah.
And I think the players on the Heat that are hurt or hurting is going to show itself against the team that is relatively healthy. But here's what Miami does have on its side, Mike. They have to feel like that there's nothing that they can't do.
Exactly.
I don't know what the stat looks like this, but I don't know if an NBA team has ever beat the teams with the 3 best records to win the NBA title. And if they beat Denver, that's what they will have done by doing that, because the best record in the league was the Bucks, followed by the Celtics and then the Nuggets. So they are literally like beating the best of the best. And so if they do pull it off, it is literally probably the best run that we've seen one team have in basketball history, because this is an 8 seed, Mike. The only other 8 seed to make the finals was the 99 Knicks. That was a 50-game season. So this is the first full season 8 seed. Eric Spoelstra is the best coach in basketball.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler is the most underrated star player of this era.
Yeah.
And this team is playing for a championship for the second time in 4 years. And I think the only other organizations we've been able to say that the past decade have had either LeBron, Steph, or KD attached. So it's like,
hold on one second, Coop.
Golden
Hold on
Yeah,
one second,
went
Coop.
back.
I was switching Wi-Fi's, man, because the other one was acting real choppy. But go ahead. What were you saying?
Well, I mean, we look at Golden State being the preeminent franchise, but I think we're wrong, Mike. I mean, they happen to be the preeminent franchise. Not to say they're not a wonderfully run operation, but they did have Steph and Clay, and then they did get KD for 3 years.
Yeah.
It's like, look at what Miami's doing with what they've had. They've had Jimmy Butler and, not cast-offs or castaways, but definitely like marginal to medium in terms of their range NBA players.
Undrafted talent.
But they've made it work. I mean, Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra, I mean, this is a magnificent job by them, Mike.
I think the unsung MVP right now is Martin for Miami. He's really contributed in a way, and I think they're gonna have some X factor guys in that Nuggets series. We're gonna have to see how this first game happens with the Nuggets. Where's the first game? Is it in Miami or is it in Denver?
Oh no, it's in Denver. Miami's the 8 seed, Mike.
Okay, I didn't know if so the first game does start at home. I mean, we're gonna have to see how that game pans out. They're definitely gonna have to punch Denver in the mouth to stand a chance. Look, I'm rooting for Miami, because again, I'm a Jimmy Butler fan. I really rock with how he plays the game, and but saying all that to say, if Denver wins, I'm not gonna be mad at that either, man, because I think that Joker showing people like this is how you play basketball is not a bad thing.
I want to talk about the Celtics, and I want to talk about their top 2 players. Now, I mean, because I'm glad that we started off, giving Miami their props because it's due. That don't mean we don't need to talk about Boston. We need to talk about Boston.
Okay. Well, where do you see Boston going from here?
That's not what I want to discuss first.
Okay. Go ahead.
I think what really happened, situations and circumstances and styles make fight. You have to be present for things to understand certain things.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to look at the last couple of NBA seasons and look at the resumes, well, the resume would tell you that both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are top 10 players, Mike. The resumes, the stats, and the awards would reflect that.
Right.
But, Mike, when you really unpack it, this is what I mean about the intangible and the variable of having to be there to watch it, Mike. And it's funny, I was at my man Tron's house yesterday for a little cookout and watched the game there. Shout out to Tron. His pops was like, Tatum and Brown are overrated. And I was like, you're bugging. I was like, they just made first team and second team. He's like, yeah, but they overrated. And I was like, it's like you don't make All-NBA first team back-to-back seasons unless you know what I mean? Like Tatum just did. But then I thought about it, Mike. And I'm about to ask you a question. Like, first of all, to make the All-NBA team, you have to be one of the 15 best players in the league. Technically, top 5-ish at your position because it's 15 slots. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, Mike, we know for a fact that, especially now for the foreseeable future, will Jokic, Embiid, Giannis, and Luka taking up 4 of the 15 spots? Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
That's pretty fair to say, right, Mike?
Yep.
Now, it's pretty safe to say that if these 3 guys are healthy, they're going to take up spots too. That's KD, Steph, and LeBron. Fair?
Yeah.
That's 7. Now, those 7 players I named, do you think Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are better than any of those players that I just named?
I don't think so, no.
So that would put them immediately, Mike, at 8 and 9, actually. And here's where I'm about to get you. And this is what I mean about how making the All-NBA team is funny. Look at the forwards that were hurt this year that played under 65 games, Mike. LeBron, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Zion, Brandon Ingram. Mike, did you see how Mikal Bridges started balling in Brooklyn when he was by himself?
Yeah.
I just named 6 guys. You feel what I'm saying? So do you think that Tatum or Brown is better than a healthy Zion? I don't. Not if he's healthy. I'm just
we haven't seen enough of Zion to tell.
Well, I've seen enough.
I haven't seen him healthy at all.
It's no. But all I'm saying, Mike, but since he's walked onto an NBA court and been healthy, he's been good for like 25 and 60% field goal percentage. That's not regular.
No,
That's
definitely. Definitely not.
I'm just asking you, like, in a vacuum, who's better?
In a vacuum, on paper, it would be Zion, but, again, he has to prove that over a duration.
What about Brandon Ingram?
I think those guys are better than Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram's tight.
Okay. What do you think about Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, Kyrie Irving, Damian Lillard, Jamal Murray, Shea Gil Alexander?
Wow. I think Donovan Mitchell, I would say Booker and Donovan Mitchell at the top of that list currently. Not saying.
Are better?
Huh?
Are better? Because how about this? Do you think Kawhi healthy is still better, right?
I don't. Man, the thing is, man, what makes this different?
You see how Kawhi played against Phoenix, right?
I know.
I think Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown would have done that against Kevin Durant and Devin Booker?
That's the thing.
Alone?
That's the thing, though, Coop.
Westbrook, but
No, that's the thing, though, Coop. It's like we're judging now Tatum and Brown in primetime moments. And when it comes to primetime moments, I'm definitely not putting those guys with the other guy.
I'm just talking period too, Mike. I'm talking about if you had a player for a season too. Would you rather have a healthy Kawhi Leonard right now or a healthy Jason Tatum? Who would you take?
I mean, if it's for one season, give me a healthy Kawhi.
Well, it's a season-to-season league, Mike, because there's only a championship awarded once a year. So right now, we have 8 players that we would definitely pick ahead of them. That puts them at 9 and 10. That's not counting Booker, Donovan Mitchell. Would you take Booker, Donovan Mitchell over those guys? Because I would take Book over Brown for sure.
I would take Book over Brown. I wouldn't take any of them over Tatum, only because of the size differential.
I'm going to give you the size differential. So, what about Kyrie and Dame? I'm taking Dame over both of them.
Me too. Dame's my guy.
So they're at 9 and 10. Well, actually at 9 and 11, kind of respectfully. What about Kyrie?
I would have to say so. I mean, he's a champion.
Right.
Kyrie's a little different because we know what he had on his championship squad, and when Kyrie gets into other situations, it hasn't been proven that he can lead them to victory at this point. Not saying it can't happen, but
What about a healthy Paul George?
No, I still got Tatum and them over a healthy
You got
Paul.
Brown. You got Brown. You got a healthy Paul George. Not better than Jaylen Brown at this stage.
No, not at this stage.
Okay, so Mike. So respectfully speaking, that would kind of put them as the 10th best player and the 12th best player in the league. And you usually need a top 10 player to win a championship. That's what Pops was kind of saying about them being overrated. They're not as good as their numbers say that they are. If you really put them in a vacuum and put them in live and in real time, there's about 10, 11 guys better.
Well, see, that's the problem.
Like, how about this, Mike? We didn't put Jimmy Butler in this. Do you think Jimmy Butler's better than Jaylen Brown? Because I do.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
he's better than Jason Tatum.
At this juncture, yes. I mean, who I'm picking up?
They don't have a top 10 player. That means one player's at 11, one player's at 14. You're not going to win no championship like that. They are overrated because if the expectation is for those two to win a championship together, well, they're the 11th and the 14th best player. That ain't no Magic Kareem. That's not no Mike and Scotty. When Scotty became, people forget, when Scotty came up, it wasn't like Scotty came here.
Coop, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool.
Went out on my side too.
Okay, you said what about Scotty?
People forget, people act like when Scotty came up, he was just like some all-star player. It's like, no, nigga, Scotty was a top 10 player. Scotty was making first or second team all NBA third team regularly.
Yeah.
When he came up. So it was easy. So you already had the best, and then you had another guy that was about 10 to 15. No, you won a championship with that. Shaq and Kobe. When Shaq was in his prime and Kobe was in his prime, Shaq was about either 1, 2, or 3. Kobe was out 4, 5, or 6. You know what I'm saying? Wade and LeBron. LeBron was 2 because Kobe was 1, LeBron was 2, Wade was 3. You know what I mean? They're not that kind of player. You can go Shaq and Penny. No, Penny was making all NBA first team and second team from the moment he stepped in the league. He was a top 10 player. Shaq was a top 10 player. They had 2 top 10 players.
They did that so quickly over there, man.
KD and Westbrook. They're not even KD and Westbrook because here's the thing: Tatum's not better than KD, and Brown's not better than Westbrook. Not in their prime and at their peak. You get what I'm saying? No, they didn't win a championship together. You feel what I'm saying? And they were top 10.
But I think the thing is, it's not just them.
People say they are.
It's not just them two though, Coop. This team is really deep. That Celtics team is deep.
It is, and I'm going to tell you why, Mike.
It
is, and I'm going to tell you why. They don't have chemistry. They don't know how to play together, Mike. KD and Steph, by season 3, were in the pick and roll together. They're 2 of the greatest scorers ever, and they had learned how to play the pick and roll together. This is Tatum and Brown's fault. They haven't learned how to play ball together. Shaq and Wade, by the time training camp was over, Penny and Shaq came to training camp ready. They knew how to play together from jump. It took Kobe and Shaq about 3 years, Mike. No, they've had time. KD and Book have more chemistry right now than Brown and Tatum have. They've been playing together 20 games.
Well, see, that's exactly why. That's exactly
about that, Mike.
That's exactly why Shaq wanted Orlando to draft Penny because they had the chemistry early on the Blue Chips film.
Yeah. And he's like, no, I want to play with that guy.
Well, see, Penny's whole mindset was I got to get this man the ball, and that's what it was. He's point guard.
I was about to say, people forget this. Scotty knew where to get Mike the ball. That's when Scotty started running point.
Yeah. Yeah.
They got each other. Scotty and Mike got each other so many easy baskets because they knew each other's game so well. It's ridiculous. There were so many handoffs and feed-offs and back alley passes and doorways and alleys, Mike. It was ridiculous. They had chemistry.
So what do you think?
It wasn't just the greatest duo because Mike was the greatest. It was because they had actual chemistry.
Right. He was great.
Our show works because we have chemistry, Mike. That's why we're better than these other guys. We're not saying anything different. Our chemistry is better.
Yeah, and we talk to the people and all that. You know what I'm saying? But the chemistry got to be there, and I think people feel the chemistry, and so they're able to absorb that and chime into the show. Now, what do you think Boston should do from here? Like, what's the move? If you're Boston's GM, I think Boston's GM should get fired, honestly. But let's just say you're Boston's GM. What do you do from here?
I'm not paying these niggas $50 million a season apiece.
Well, that's what I just
expressed to you because listen to the conversation. That's why I was like, we had to do a breakdown. It's like, well, technically, when everybody's healthy, neither one of these guys are top 10 players. When everybody's healthy, these guys aren't top 10 players. I'm not paying you $50 million. I don't care how many times you score 25 and 30 points a game, respectively, for a season. How many all NBA first and second teams you make? I'm not paying you that.
So you're willing to lose Jaylen Brown?
I'm definitely doing a sign and trade. I'm signing and trading Jaylen Brown. I mean, to be honest with you, where I really think they messed up is that they should have went ahead and did this last season and like got Kevin Durant, because the whole Kevin Durant rumors going to Boston is what kind of ruined the relationship with Brown anyway. So they should have went ahead and just pulled the trigger, because they're gonna have to make something happen, Mike.
Kevin Durant be messing people's teams up.
Yeah, they do. They're gonna have to make the Dame shit happen. They're gonna have to make something happen, because this ain't working. They don't have chemistry. And here's what we're really finding out. You want to know what it is? This team still doesn't have a playmaker, Mike.
You know what? You're right. When they need a basket,
who can ball. It's a bunch of guys who can ball. Like, you know what this team is? Like, this is like the bad boy Pistons without Isaiah. It's like, it's a real deep team with a bunch of talented players and athletes, and you got hitters at every position, but you actually need like actual floor general, somebody to run the show. And
you know what? I will say this, man. I think Marcus Smart does a good job. He does the best that he can. I think that he's just not. He's not exactly. He's not. But
he's not the point guard that this team needs. Like, this team needs him, but they don't need him in the capacity that he's at, because they don't have any other playmakers.
I think somebody else could utilize him a lot more, and they could utilize someone else a lot more than they're utilizing Marcus Smart.
On Kyrie for not making this work with this team.
Yeah,
it's
man.
Very problematic that he didn't make it work with these guys.
And that is, and that's gonna be a mark on his legacy. I think the fact that he wasn't able to make it with this squad, because this squad was his to run. The Durant thing is one thing, but these guys are young. You know what I'm saying?
When you play with a top 10 player and you don't win, it's a thing. That's what I'm saying. Stop trying to make it seem like it's okay.
No,
it's not okay to
look,
a top 10 player and you be a borderline top 10, 15 player and you're not win a championship. It's not okay.
Again, I think there's a lot of chemistry issues that could happen with him and Durant just coming together. What's that?
So they ain't have no chemistry issues. He got some personal issues.
Well, that too. Whatever. You know what I mean? But with Tatum and Brown being so young and Kyrie coming in as a leader and in a leadership position at the point, he should have been able to make that work.
He just could have became a point guard, though, is what I'm saying. He could have just became the point guard and the closer. It would have been fine. Like, he could have averaged 22 points a game and closed all these games out and just let these kids run wild and just rein them back in the fourth quarter and go take his shots and get his money in. But he didn't want to do that.
But Coop, that's my problem with the combo guard position. I don't think the combo guard position helps the team. It's a
nice segue. Nice segue, Mike. I got my top 10 combo guards of all time done.
Who you got?
On my list. Okay? Tell me what you think. Tell me if I'm missing anybody. Okay? Because I really thought about who the combo guards were. All right, Mike. And this is in no order, but Oscar Robertson is actually the first real combo guard.
Okay.
He's like Russell Westbrook before Russell Westbrook. He's he was 6'5" and like 210 pounds, like in a time where like your point guard or your shooting guard wasn't that big.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Mike, I got Steph because I'm with you. Like, he's really, because of Draymond, he's really spent more time at the 2 than the 1.
Yep.
But he does play the 1. But the only thing is when he plays the 1 in crunch time, you'd rather have Draymond play it. Sounds like a combo guard.
Yeah. I think the only thing point guard that she does is guard the point guard on the other team.
He has his moments where he dishes, Mike.
Oh, he's a great passer, great dribbler or whatnot.
Point guard, he's a great passer.
Yeah.
Mike, also in the Oscar Robertson vein, shortly after Oscar Robertson, Jerry West.
Okay, yeah.
people forget that Jerry West oftentimes was the point guard, especially when they played with Elgin Baylor. It was really kind of more like, Elgin Baylor is kind of considered a small forward, but it was kind of like, Jerry West is kind of like point guard, shooting guard. Elgin Baylor was kind of like shooting guard, small forward. You know what I'm saying? Kind of thing, like depending on who else they had in the lineup over the years when they played together. The Jerry West combo guard, because he spent years at point guard, spent years at shooting guard. I think he's more like in the case of like a cornerback moving to safety. It's like he was really a point guard at first, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Got older, kind of slid the shooting guard, Allen Iverson, of course, Mike. I think the most popular combo guard of our generation.
Yeah.
Mike, I've got Dame and Westbrook down as combo guards.
Okay.
Because they're not. And when you see the top 10 point guards, you understand. I got Kyrie down as a combo guard, Mike.
He is.
I got Harden down as a combo guard.
Who else? Who was that? Harden. Yeah, he is. I don't know, man. I'm split with Dame. Dame plays the point guard position.
I was split with Dame too, but when I thought about my top 10 point guard list, I'm like, well, damn, Dame not making that list.
Well, I feel like John Wall is more of a combo guard than Dame is.
I feel that too, but I also feel like because Dame is such a great scorer, Dame too oftentimes sets up offense for himself, a la Allen Iverson, which would make him a combo guard. And much like Iverson has the capability to pass and is an above average passer, but because of the team, because of the setup,
because of the situation. Guard. I truly believe that if Dame were to go to Boston, he would go out there and play the point guard position.
Play point. Yes, he would play point. Yeah. And because here's the thing about it. Jason Tatum in the fourth quarter can just slide. You're all right. All right. I don't know if there's anybody I'd take over Dame with money on the line still. Like right now today, if I had a shot, I might take Dame. It's like,
if I'm Portland, though, if I'm Portland, I take that trade straight up. You know what I'm saying? Like Jaylen Brown. Yeah, Jaylen Brown for Damian Lillard.
It's time.
Yeah, I'd take that trade straight up.
Mike, and then I went old school. I went Tiny Archibald and Pistol Pete to round out my top 10.
You think Pistol Pete's a combo guard?
I do, just
great
kind of
scorer, but
once again, situational, Mike, and also the type of shooter that he was, and also what his idea of playmaking was, because his idea of playmaking was making a shot for his damn self.
Representing Atlanta, all day, A-Town.
But that's my combo guard action. What we got next?
Oh, somebody said Kevin Johnson. I like that too. Kevin Johnson
was on my borderline, but I felt like Kevin Johnson was actually a real point guard, Mike, especially when he got Barkley.
Yeah. Kevin Johnson was a beast. Kevin Johnson was like the first point guard in my generation that I saw just dunking over folks. Because point guards weren't really doing that in the 90s like that. Because this is before Rod Strickland. This is before, obviously, Baron Davis. Baron Davis was crazy. I would love to make an underrated list with niggas like Baron Davis and Gilbert Arenas. I feel like Gilbert Arenas was a combo guard. And I'm going to say this. I truly believe that Steph's inspiration probably comes from Gilbert Arenas. Steph plays a lot like Gilbert Arenas offensively.
I'll tell you what, Mike. Two guards that people don't talk about enough are Kevin Johnson and Tim Hardaway, Mike.
Mm-hmm. Tim Hardaway, too.
That's what I'm saying. If you were there and saw them in their prime, especially like Golden State Tim Hardaway was starting over Magic Johnson in the All-Star game.
I didn't get a chance to watch Tim Hardaway that much because they weren't playing Golden State games, you know what I'm saying, when we were growing up on TV like that.
When you saw him, it was stellar, Mike.
Yeah, no. Tim Hardaway. I remember seeing Tim Hardaway for Miami.
Yeah. See, that guy had knee problems. That guy was great. The other guy was the Golden State guy was an easy Hall of Famer.
What did you think about Chris Mullin in his prime? And then we'll move on.
He's on my list, but he's in my outside, but he's in my 15.
He's another one I didn't really get a chance to see play in his prime like that. Like, I remember him being on the Dream Team. He didn't get a lot of PT on the Dream Team like that, but I don't think I saw Mullin.
I don't know if he should have been on the Dream Team.
Huh?
I don't know if he should have been on the Dream Team.
I don't think he should have been either.
Yeah.
I think that might have been a diversity hire.
Dominique.
Dominique, you know what? I always say that, but Dominique was hurt. So that was when Dominique had that injury.
Larry Bird didn't have a vertebrae anymore. And
it's true. but he's Larry Bird.
Magic Johnson had some issues that were very prevalent in being notarized.
Well, I think
And
Bird and Magic were there for symbolic reasons.
no. Them niggas played.
They did play. They're great. They needed them on that squad, though. I mean, let me say it like this: they didn't need them, but the
Right, not the way
star
Barkley,
power, the
not
the
the way Barkley
visual.
and I remember specifically Barkley and Robinson and Mike on that team
Mm-hmm.
just
You
pretty
win
much
too.
running people off the floor. Yeah, Ewan played great too.
But again, I think that the image of Jordan, Magic, and Bird together, they needed that. You know what I'm saying? I think that was kind of the passing of the torch in the NBA from the 80s to the 90s, officially. But we were going to talk about hip hop production, right? That's one thing that we had, and I really wanted to kind of break down what it means for a hip hop track to be great, because you and I were talking about the 80s production, 90s production, and you're more of a fan of the 90s production. I like a lot of the things about the 80s production, so we'll get into a whole lot of that. But I did want to kind of touch on this piece of this Angie Martinez interview that I saw, that I think somebody sent it to us, or I just saw it on the thread, that Clark Kent sat down with Angie, and he made the statement of saying that the reason why Biggie's no longer here is because Tupac lied on him. And they're talking about the Quad Studio shooting night. I just hate that, some of these things get, just get new birth and new energy. And this is, again, off the heels of Clark Kent saying that The Chronic wasn't a classic. But
Is this the same interview that he said that in?
I don't think it's the same interview, no. This is my only thing, and it's the only reason why I'm bringing it up, because I think that sometimes we got to be careful, man. A lot of these platforms right now, get a lot of our OGs and a lot of people from yesteryear, and they go out and see if they could tell the most extravagant stories, say the most shocking things sometimes. Not saying that's what Clark Kent's doing here, but when you have an OG in hip hop that's sitting in that seat, they're basically telling history, right? And they also have an opportunity to rewrite history if they come on some, I don't want to say shock value stuff. What's the word I'm looking for? Clickbaitish type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And this definitely seems like a clickbait issue, or situation rather. So, saying all that to say, I'm only bringing this up because I think that people need a full picture, and I think anybody that was there gets the full picture. I don't think that's accurate to say that because Pac felt how he felt about that night at Quad Studios, that was the reason why Big was murdered the night of March 9th, or the morning of March 9th in Los Angeles, California. I think if you were there, or at least observing at that point, you know about the Sway interview. When he went out there for the Soul Train Awards, and him spitting that verse from Life After Death that many believe was about Pac. I mean, you know about the inappropriate moves, and just Life After Death having all kind of subliminals after a man's passing, or what some perceive as, subliminals. So I don't know if that tells the whole story, and I wish that people would kind of stay away from those things, because it reignites something that is dead and gone and unnecessary, man. And Angie actually sat down with Pac, too. Like, you know what I mean?
I think the truth is usually somewhere in the middle. And so, did Pac ignite some things and fan some flames with his rhetoric in magazines, in interviews, on video, via songs and diss records? Well, yes, of course. but you know how that male ego works too. And it's like I told you, and here's the best way that I can reference it. It's like one of the more disturbing moments to me in rap history on record, Mike, is the interludes on Life After Death. It's particularly the ones on My Downfall and Going Back to Cali.
Mm-hmm.
My Downfall one because he's actually calling out Faith's name on there. He's like, Faye. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But on Going Back to Cali, when they're recording the conversation between Puff and Big Mike, and he's like, oh, Cali? And Puff is like, you know, we got to get this paper, baby. And I'm thinking to myself, well, look at what cost, though. And this is why money is the root of all evil, because the reality of the matter is that, Mike, we weren't kids, but we were teenagers. But Mike, we could feel what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And we wasn't in New York or Cali. So I don't know what they was doing in Cali anyway. Now, Mike, this is before I ever lived in Cali.
Mm-hmm.
But I always knew, Mike, Cali and Cali niggas, them ain't type of dudes you roll up on when things aren't well.
There was a lot of poking the bear, I felt like, on Biggie's end or Bad Boy's end altogether.
Like a Soul Train award is not worth it to me. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. And if you're going to make that appearance, move like you understand that you're, I mean, let's just keep it all the way real. Move like you're behind enemy lines, because you were. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what it is.
Yeah, like I mean,
it's like, you know, I always tell people, like, and I guess you have to have that conversation with young black men about dealing with the police, yada, yada, right? You have to move like you're behind enemy lines, because you are. You know what I'm saying? And you turning up on the police, all they're going to do is call more. They're going to call more. And
like
what are you about
they should have came, they should, like, I'm not joking, they should have came 100 deep from Brooklyn if they was coming into Cali.
And like you said, it's not even that important. You know what I'm saying? At that point.
Right, and at that point that you have to do that, it's not that important. So that's not just Pac.
And also, Coop, I think the other part of it is people had heard things that you've said on the album. The album wasn't released yet, but certain songs were out there. Going Back to Cali was out there. And again, he spit that verse, what was it, from Long Kiss Goodnight, on Sway's show. And it's like, people heard that, and he spit that for people to hear that. And so there was a lot of poking the bear, and there needs to be some accountability on all ends. What I will say, to give Pac his credit, I remember even as a kid, Pac was saying, don't buy into this East Coast, West Coast shit. That's the media. This is between two men. I have never heard Bad Boy or any of them say that. So I feel like at that end, they were riding the wave of the records that this was selling. And case in point, I know they always talk about Who Shot Ya wasn't about Pac, but obviously the timing of its release was to sell records or get interest for it. And they were utilizing that back and forth for that. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, they just got to keep it honest with that. That's what happened. Again, not blaming anybody, but tell the whole story. To just sit there and say, because, you know, for whatever reason that Pac had to believe what he believed was the reason that Big is dead, I think is just, really, man, I think that's shitting on a man's legacy when you're not telling the whole truth like that. It's not right.
It's very problematic.
It's not right, man. Like, if anything, man, we all should learn from that situation and, you know, in those situations, take the high road and move forward. And it feels like, you know, from Clark Kent, who I respect a lot, Flex too, who I respect a lot, it's like they are still not willing to just say that Big did some wrong things. You know what I'm saying? He did. He made some mistakes. It happened.
Let's just say structurally and organizationally, Bad Boy did not move the way. Mike, this is the art of war, okay? In order to defeat your enemy, you must think like your enemy. So niggas in Cali ride. You feel me? So if you're gonna ride out to Cali, I suggest you be thinking like your enemy. You feel what I'm saying?
Somebody
Like
in
just
the
being
chat.
straight up and down about it. So let's say it's not a big failure. It's a failure of structural and organizational leadership, Mike, and I can't stand talking about this shit.
Of course, but again, if we
This.
don't talk about it in full context, then you got people out here rewriting history clearly, just based on their individual personal connections to it. You know what I'm saying? And we just got to be honest. Like somebody in the chat said, both of them were wrong to an extent, and again, I hope we learn from this, even with whatever Quavo and Offset got going on. Like, man, this shit ain't worth it. Squash
I mean, how
whatever
about this?
and move forward.
How about this? If Big ain't to blame at all, then give us the timestamp on who shot you. Why can't we get a timestamp on who shot you if Big ain't got? You get what I'm saying? Like you seen the Stevie J interview, right? Where they asking him when it got made, right?
I tell you,
you know how many times? You know how many times different dudes from that camp have been asked when that record got made, Mike? Do we have an answer yet?
I tell you what, man. I know a lot of people say, okay, it was made whenever, whatever.
This is why I hate talking about this, because then we got to just start being honest about what happened on both sides.
Yeah,
you know
and again, people just need to be honest about it and say, again, we made mistakes. We were young, and we learn from that and move forward. But to not acknowledge those things is even more wrong. What I was gonna say though, people always talk about it was made a long time ago and it was released. It was totally didn't have anything to do with anything. But let's just say that somebody made a record.
Ain't nobody trying to hear that though.
Right, I know, but follow me real quick.
Like them dudes is from the streets. You can't take that out in the streets and feed that to nobody.
They know. Listen, they know what it is. I'll tell you this: if they made a song,
feed that to nobody.
If they made a song that had something to do with the Jewish community in the title, right, or it could be insinuated as something that affected that community, they wouldn't release it after something in that community happened detrimental. They wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? People know what to do and what not to do.
Mike, they try, that's like you and me trying to kick like our rap show like it's an R&B review. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like,
come on, man. Like, just keep it all the way real. And I hate that, two of our greats had to be taken from that. But honestly, man, I hate that happened to Pop. But I'll tell you what, man, that didn't have to happen to Big. And
I mean, imagine you're sitting in a cell in New York, Mike, and the talk around the jail is a record called "Who Shot You" while you're in jail.
Listen, man,
you're in Rikers Island, and the song that's ringing bells in the streets and in the jail cells is a song called "Who Shot You."
It's insane.
When you got shot in a building
that this nigga was at, and you were coming to see them niggas or whatever, and they knew you were coming. Yeah.
Now, if that's not the biggest failure of structure and organizational leadership in the history of rap that I've ever seen.
But the problem, Coop, the biggest problem to me,
some of the dumbest shit ever.
Almost 30 years later, Coop, no one even acknowledges that, and no one is even saying, you know what, that was a bad move. That's my problem.
You want to know why it is? Because it's kind of, not to be funny. I'm always funny when I do it. Much like the R. Kelly thing, Mark, great music trumps everything at the end of the day. Yeah. Kind of like great play trumps like Lawrence Taylor's game-changing ability, quite frankly, changes like the cocaine and the prostitutes. You know what I'm saying? Who Shot You is such a mammothly great record in the annals of hip-hop, just fundamentally speaking as far as the beat is concerned and the MCing is concerned. Probably shouldn't have released it though, but it is one of the best rap songs you'll ever hear.
I mean, back then, and I'm still a big fan of both. Back then, I was more of a Biggie fan than I was a Pac fan. So I was actually, trying to justify that in the same way that it was being fed to me. Like, oh man, this song ain't about him, whatever. It was just coincidence. But now understanding the way things work, no, there's no excuse for that record to be put out in that time, and the reason why that record was being put out was because somebody said in the chat, controversy sells. And they had learned at that point controversy sells, and they were milking this thing. And the only person involved in any of this that was acknowledging the fact that, look, this is people trying to sell records was Pop. He was
Mike,
the
where's
only
Quad
one.
Studios exactly?
What's that?
Where's Quad Studios at?
In New York.
No, I mean, where at?
It's Quad Studio. Was that in Manhattan, right?
I feel like, right?
I think so. I think it was in the middle of the city. Somebody correct us if we're wrong.
Right.
LP with the super chat says, "You may get what you want, but not what you." He said, "Home." He said, "You may get what you want, but not what you get." Excuse me. You may get what you want, but not want what you get. Yeah. AB Studios with the super chat says, "Clark is wrong. Both to blame. Both poke the bear in the interviews. There's no accountability from both sides. Too much ego being displayed. That's all it was." I can agree with both being wrong and not actually, squashing something that possibly could have been squashed. But I would say one side is more wrong than the other in my eyes. And if we're talking about Big's demise, there were things that he could have done after Pac had been murdered to not be in a position where, like you said, he would be behind enemy lines on the West Coast. Like, I remember seeing the Joe Clair interview, the classic Joe Clair interview on Rap City, where Big said, I wouldn't wish death on anybody because ain't no coming back from that. But other than that, there was never really any remorse or any like, yo, man, it's fucked up. We got to stop this type stuff coming from Big. It was still some somewhat tough guy shit. And that...
The only guy I remember from the East Coast even really like saying something about Pac like that was Tretch with the Mourn You Till I Join You record.
Yeah.
Everybody else is quiet.
That could have been an opportunity for a lot of the people to just be like, you know what, man? We got to stop this shit. There. Yeah, let's squash
Tretch
it. But
tried. People forget that too. Tretch made the Mourn You Till I Join You record. People should have got behind that.
And it wasn't until,
but listen to what I'm saying. So this is what I mean. Like, you got to start getting into understand, like, this is what I mean. Hip hop is 50, Mike. So understand this is happening 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So hip hop's not that old. It's very young. Yeah. Okay. It's very, very street oriented.
They made some mistakes.
Now I'm just like, Mike. Now the way the streets work. I-4 and I-242 still.
Yeah.
So what you do unto me, I'm going to do unto you. That's why I was asking, well, where's Quad Studios at? That's in Manhattan. Darren Harris said Times Square to be exact.
Mm-hmm.
So Pac got hit up in the middle of New York. Literally. Now, you think them dudes on the West Coast didn't take note of that?
Of course.
Like, check. Like, as soon as that happened, Mike, every East Coast artist of any sort of notoriety should have been like, pause. Because the way Cali dudes think, what you do to me, then to do to you.
Well, that's all.
And they'll wait, Mike.
Yeah. Well, that's all the more reason.
Know these rules and know how this goes. So I don't know why we sitting up here playing these games.
Well, that's all the more reason, though, to get in front of it. But again, these guys were young, right? Do you think it would have still been that same situation if if there were more Tretches out there in that mix? Like, listen, man, niggas ain't co-sign this shit. This was, what I'm saying? This had nothing to do with the East Coast. This is a isolated scenario. Because Pac was,
all I'm saying
Pac was still working.
If you bang my guy in public, I'm going to bang yours in public. I'll wait.
But that's all the more reason not to poke the bear.
Period.
So
that's what I'm saying. That's why it's like from then it should have all been like, oh, well, we know how the streets really work, so we just don't. And that's when that's what I'm talking about with ego and money. You start thinking that you're bigger and badder than what you are, Mike. No. Streets will always show you. It's like, no. We can come pull you right back in if we feel like it.
Because like I said, we're not gonna sit here and act like life after death and all of the shots that are on there didn't happen. We're not gonna sit here and act like he didn't go up to Sway's show and rap a verse that clearly is about Pac, that Un was about Pac, that Lil C said was about Pac on on LA radio. That
And
happened.
you,
You know what I'm
and you see
saying?
what
Like,
I'm
you
saying?
can't do
And you
that.
see, Mike, and I try to offer a contrarian opinion about it, just like to give it like a different spin, because it's like, well, I don't want to be bringing that shit back up. Can we try to look at it differently at least
We just got to
after all
tell the
this time?
truth. It was a
Yeah,
mistake. You know what I mean? It's fine. It was, like you said, it was 30 years ago.
not
But don't
fine.
go
No, look
out
what
there.
happened. That's what I'm saying. It's not fine.
It's not fine. But the fact that people make mistakes when you're young and you're dumb, it's what it is. But when you're older and you're sitting here acting like it didn't happen, that's really not fine. Because no one learns from that. You know what I'm saying? And you're kind of throwing somebody else's legacy in the dirt to sit here and cover up the shit that this other person did wrong. You know what I mean? You got to tell a balanced take of it. Those
Just don't
things
sound good,
happen.
Mike. It don't sound good when they say neighbors called the cops, said they heard mad shots. That doesn't sound good.
Yeah, it doesn't
Don't tell me
sound
these
good.
niggas didn't know that shit did not sound good. I mean, like, they knew it sounded great, but they knew it didn't sound good. You feel me? They chose what sounded great on record over, like, what the streets tell you that you shouldn't do.
Well, this is the problem with subliminals. Subliminals can be creative, but the
It's on,
mind
nigga,
can
fuck all
wander
that
as
bickering
well.
beef. It's on, nigga, fuck all that bickering beef.
Yeah. I can hear sweat trickling down your cheek, your heartbeat sound like Sasquatch. Yeah, you know. OG
Sounds
Winston,
great, but it don't sound good.
OJ Winston with the super chat said, Big has Snoop's trailer shot up before Pac said anything about Big. Pac left prison and went straight to the studio. RIP to both legends. I don't know anything about that. That's interesting.
So the New York video scene got shot up is what he's talking about, but we don't know if Big and Big's people did that. That's still
Yeah,
conjecture.
I don't know
Let's
anything
not,
about that.
Yeah, let's not just tote that out there like that's totally factual. But it is factual that the New York video shoot did get shot up though.
And ain't no telling. That could have been some agents. That could have been somebody sent from some, big record label that had nothing to do with anything to keep the controversy up. Who knows? But
Feds do be taking pictures, Mike. They do have something to do with all of this.
But that's all the more reason why when you have two individuals that are in the center of something, you need to let all that outside noise go, and they need to work it out if they can. And I think that even in death, and again, Biggie paid with his life in this situation, but he definitely could have squashed these things even after Pac had been murdered, and he didn't. And the controversy continued to go on, and it seems like from outsider's perspective, it seemed like that was more about keeping the controversy up to sell records, really. And unfortunately, what happened happened. But I think it's not telling the whole story to just completely blame the man who was murdered first for all of it when there was an opportunity to say, you know what? No, we're going to move a different way, but that didn't happen. It is what it is. But yeah, I mean, I think those things need to be addressed for our younger audience that, probably doesn't know the full scope of what happened. And when somebody who was close to a lot of this stuff just says those things, and, Flex has said it too, that might be how they feel, but based on everything that's on the table, that doesn't seem like that's the whole picture. I'll put it that way.
Man, just give me the Who Shot You timestamp. That's it.
Yeah.
I want a recording date, or I don't want to talk about this. You feel me? Because to be honest with you, more than anything else, even beyond the life after death subliminals, Mike, this is about who shot you. That's what I'm saying. It's just like, no, timestamp the record if you really want to get down to the get down. Like that's where all this shit really spin from.
Like you said, this man's sitting in rockets. I mean, we've seen these interviews, and if you haven't seen those interviews or the interview,
he's singing "What's Up" from out the window right before he got shot, Mike. It don't look good.
Yeah, I mean, Pac's interview from
come upstairs. Don't that sound like a setup, Mike? The way Pac telling the story, he's seeing C's hanging out the window, telling him to come on up, and he comes in to come up, and they know that he's coming already, and there are two dudes waiting. Come on.
I don't think we talk about Pac's jail interview enough because he doesn't seem mad. He doesn't seem anything. He's just telling what happened, and he called out Donnie Simpson too. He's like he getting it from every direction. People making up these rumors about him being, taken advantage of and this and that. So him getting locked up, and I'm trying to think, man, like at the time, was Pac like the first ever big hip hop star that was like active and locked up? Like hip hop hadn't really seen
No, I
anything.
mean what's his name from Audio 2? Um,
Oh, you talking about Chi Ali?
yeah.
Chi Ali just had a birthday too. Shout out to Chi Ali. No, but I'm talking about somebody who's like active, active. You know what I mean? Like on top of
Oh,
the game. And I
oh,
don't
like
think
that was that
where the
dude. Yeah.
media has to cover them, I don't think that we had
I
seen
mean,
that
Snoop had
before.
the murder trial, but he wasn't locked up.
Right.
But
And so
Pac
this was
was
kind
like,
of new for everybody. And Pac was actually getting a lot of these,
I
the
mean, Pac had
rumors
already
that
been shooting at
circulate.
people. I mean, Pac had already been shot at and been, yeah, like and
Yeah.
shooting and yes, yeah,
So, I mean,
yeah.
people have to look and possibly try to think where his mind's at with this. Like, if you were in that
No, Mike, we
situation,
knew
how
where his
would you
mind
be
was. That's
thinking?
why it was like, why are we doing this? Because it's like he made it very clear that it was a problem.
Yeah. And you know what? And all that had to be said, or all that had to be done was like, listen, it's not what it was, and just keep it moving. And that didn't happen. And I think again, the only as an adult now, the only reason why I can think that it didn't happen the way it should have happened was the fact that controversy sells. And they were riding off of this controversy, and it was very, very, very trepidous. And the balloon popped.
I
But,
mean, Mike, if I'm sitting in a cell in New York
mm-hmm.
and I've been shot, and quite frankly, I've been accused of a crime that most people that were there that night said I didn't commit, and I feel like I've been set up by these guys. What type of frame of mind? That's why I always tell people, it's like, how exactly were you expecting Tupac to behave?
And
Because I know myself, Mike, I'm not about to behave in that situation. And I know very few black men who are. You're
and
not
on top
about
of
to
that,
shoot. Mike, you're not about to shoot me. Mike, you're not about to shoot me, make a record about shooting me, have to sit. Oh, no, Mike, you better be happy that I came home and made music.
exactly. And you know what? And I think the other part of that, Coop, is that the other side, they're not saying anything favorable in a way where it's like, yo, man, we love dude. We would never do anything like that. They're not even doing that.
Well, it's a misunderstanding.
Yeah,
it's
like,
miscommunication. It's like, what are you, an attorney? Did an attorney tell you to say that? What the fuck
like
is
they're
that?
not even doing that. Like,
I don't wanna
really,
talk about this.
what really should have happened, niggas should have had some collaborations going on if nobody had anything to do with anything, right? Rigor Raw 7 with the super chat says, Big Snake Pac after he put him on. It's simple. That's the other part about Pac, man. Like what
So you don't allegedly shoot me, then allegedly make a song about shooting me and think that I'm not about to sit up here.
Pac, man. And again, I didn't get this from the media coverage because you got to understand, back in 94, 95, 96, the only thing that I saw from Pac was what I heard on the radio, what was on BET, and what was on MTV. Now, years go by and you really dig into the person and dig into, these old videos of him in high school and just the history of him and everything. Pac's thing was, look, man, I'm showing love and I expect that love back. And if I don't get that kind of love back, I have a problem. That's just the bottom line. And it's kind of piggybacking off of what Rick Ross said. He put him on. He showed him how to move. And this is what you do? And even if you didn't do this, you need to make it clear that you didn't.
You do understand that you do. I mean, this is what I mean. This is what I mean by having to be there. You have to understand that it's like, and I can remember these conversations in the neighborhood, Mike. Nobody was looking at Pac like he was crazy for what he was talking.
Mm-hmm.
And here's why, Mike.
But the media was making it look like that, though.
This is what I'm talking about, the streets, Mike. But in the streets, it's like, hold on. I'm in New York City. I get shot. Right before I get shot, I see you guys. Now, me and your guy, I've been teaching him, quote unquote, how to make the records for modern day times, as in the formula is you got to make something for the street and make something for the ladies. Right. And I've passed this formula along to him because I'm coming through New York a lot. I'm kicking it with all you guys. Got relationships with you, Tretch, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to do whatever for somebody who was managed by, I think, by Jimmy Henchman, correct? Mm-hmm. And one of your people is waving out the window and telling me to come upstairs. Almost like you've been waiting for me.
Yeah.
And when I get to the elevator, there are two people with guns and masks. Try to take my shit, and I say no. They proceed to shoot me. I somehow survive the shooting and make it upstairs to you all. And you all is chilling after I've been shot. Like I ain't been shot. Like you surprised that I'm alive. And then to add icing on the cake, I end up going to prison in your state. And that's when you decide to release a record called Who Shot You? Mike,
doesn't look good.
I don't know no.
Exactly. No.
Not from Mike, not from East Atlanta, not from West Charlotte. No.
Yeah. AB Studios of the Super Chat says, one thing I learned about Pac is premonition. Excuse me. Pac is premonition. There's power in the tongue. His message shifted before the NY incident. Me against the world was already done. You know, again, I think that one of Pac's big things was the fact that, man, he didn't think that one of his own, a black man, would do something like that.
They're not being addressed on Me Against the World. His issues in general are being addressed on Me Against the World. This is what I mean. This is a compounding thing. You have to understand, for him, he's dealing with the police shooting in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. He's dealing with a sexual assault charge. You know, he's dealing with a multitude of things.
And ain't no telling what he's...
with this. And the guy that he befriended and is trying to help show how to make records...
And ain't no telling what he's dealing with on the personal end that we don't know about, you know?
I done acted a fool for way less, Mike. For way
less.
Most
people have.
Showed my ass. I show my ass for way less, Mike.
Most people have.
Way less.
Yeah, no. But yeah, again, man, I think the whole story needs to be told. And, you know, anything other than that, I hate to say it like this, is propaganda. And there shouldn't be any bias in history. We've dealt with enough history bias in American history. You know what I mean? So when we're telling hip-hop history, hip-hop is 50.
So much allegedly means like something ain't right. That's what I'm saying.
Hip-hop is 50 and we got to tell the story right. You know what I'm saying? And again, guys were young. You know, I don't know where the mentors were at the time, but it feels like a lot of this stuff was kind of let go free because they were like, okay, well, controversy sells. It's another one of those, you know, this is just industry until it got real. But blaming somebody else for a lot of those mishaps on Big and his crew's end, I don't think is right. That's all I'm saying. So, well, we can move on from there. I thought that needed to be said.
I gotta, like, Mike, I'm just, we gotta stop talking about this shit.
I mean, we just got to talk about it right. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just got to talk about what happened, because if we don't, people will just create this narrative that Pac was just some crazy man. You know, you remember that Biggie... This is
what I mean, Mike. We don't have to do anything. The only thing that's missing from this puzzle, really based on everything that we know, is when did Who Shot You get recorded? Because they're saying, because the way that, I think the best explanation that I heard is like, oh, that record got made before that happened and we didn't release it till after. That's just a coincidence. And here's my only problem with that.
Both are bad.
I mean, that's the best one. But listen to what I'm saying when I'm saying that. Listen to Big on there.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was going to say.
No, Mike, that's not 93 Big on
it's
there.
Not. Of course it's not.
Fuck are you?
Of course it's not. That's One More Chance Big on there.
Who you playing with?
No, for real. That's Life After Death is. I'm sorry, not Life After Death. Ready to Die is well done.
That's not Mike. That's not the guy that recorded Juicy, Mike.
No, that's not even the guy that recorded Unbelievable. This is 95 Big. Regardless of what they want to say, as a listener, like, yeah, that tone, that flow, that's One More Chance Beyond Big. One More Chance remix, that is. Let me be specific. Stay With Me remix Biggie is on Who Shot Ya. Ain't no Dead Wrong Biggie or Party and Bullshit Biggie on Who Shot Ya. No. Yeah. BCD Dub.
Mike, that ain't Dreams. What's
No.
the 411
No.
remix? Dolly My Baby remix.
No.
Stop playing.
Because when they put out
That's not even Machine Gun Funk Big, Mike.
No. Because when they put out, what's the name of that album? The third album, the posthumous album. You know what I'm talking about.
Born Again.
Born Again, yes. When they put out Born Again, you could hear those records was old. Those records sound way older than Who Shot Ya.
Dead Wrong sounds old, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell. That's 92, 93, Big.
Yeah. Relax and take notes. Yeah, it's a whole different.
I wanna smoke. For you wanna choke, gun smoke, gun smoke.
That's not Who Shot Ya. Separate the weak from the opposite. No. That's 95 Biggie right there.
I can hear sweat trick. Stop that.
Yeah. Okay,
Stop playing with me, Mike. That's very comparable to the guy that's like Today's Agenda. Got the suitcase up in the Sentra. That's closer to that guy than the guy before. Stop playing.
Okay, so what was the date on the Quad Studio?
I don't know, Mike. It feels.
I'm about to look it up.
Feels like it was spring, summertime-ish, 94-ish.
Okay.
How it feels.
I'm sure the people in the chat know.
Oh,
actually, bro,
it's messing up my childhood all over again.
It was late 94. So this was November 94.
That was when he shot him?
Okay, the date's 94. On this date in 94. Okay, hold on. I think I found it. Yeah, November 30th, 1994. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you guys. I don't know. I wasn't in the studio. I wasn't even in the industry at that point. I was in like 6th grade or something. But there ain't no 94 Big on Who Shot Ya. That's 95 Big. So if the shooting was November 30th, 1994, I'm willing to bet you and anybody that record was recorded after that shooting.
Now, Mike, when did Who Shot Ya get released?
Let's see. Let's see. We're gonna be accurate here. This is a research show. So Who Shot Ya got released February 21st, 1995. And see, they claim on Wikipedia it was recorded in 94. Now listen, I got ears.
Yeah, Mike, it was recorded in 94, like December 1st or 2nd, 1994. What do we look like?
Come on, guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be real here, man. The vocal tones don't lie. They don't.
No, Mike, it's the delivery that don't lie.
Oh, yeah.
It's the delivery that don't lie.
Do we have a Biggie feature that comes from 94 that we can kind of correlate this with?
Album. Isn't the R. Kelly album Be Happy?
Was that was 94, wasn't it? I'm trying to think of what we can match this up with. But vocally, I'm almost sure that this is 95 Big recording that. Like you said, it's the flow and the vocals. BCMD with the super chat says, Pac's last interview, Thug Immortal, is informative. Most of his interviews are informative. I need to go back and check that one out. KC1 with the super chat says,
recorded in 94. Mike, what? He got shot. He got recorded in 94.
Yeah, November 30th.
How long you think it take a prime big to record a record? Somebody got recorded in 94. Yeah, December 94.
November 30th.
January 95.
Yeah.
Might have got recorded on Valentine's Day and was up for press a week later. Stop fucking playing with us.
So when did Ready to Die come out? Because I feel
Ready to Die came out in June, Mike.
Okay, Ready to Die is June in 94. So they're trying to tell us that either A, this is a record that didn't make Ready to Die, right? Or this was recorded like in September or something of
Mike,
'94, huh?
this is the same. This is the same time that Get Money remix, Get Money, Players Anthem, all that stuff's getting made. It's that guy rapping on
I
that
think it's
record,
those
not the guy
sessions.
on Ready to Die.
It's those sessions.
Why are we playing?
Casey,
These, this is the these are the after Ready to Die sessions. Stop making it seem like these is Ready to Die sessions. Who shot you not know Ready to Die session, Mike? Ready to Die been done.
Casey one with the super
Unless
chat
they got a
says,
timestamp, Mike.
"Well, I'm interested to hear the timestamp,
like,
but I don't know if I'm gonna believe it."
Part of the Ready to Die recording process, then just show, give us the footage and show us, like, okay, March of '94. Okay, fine. Then yeah.
When the record was turned in, I mean, all that's documented.
Yeah, but December 2nd, Mike, or December 2nd, '94 sounds more likely. February 14th, '95 seems more likely.
Yeah, I think so. Just in my estimation. Casey one.
What's that shit? Could say Cam says on the rock could be April, could be July 2nd sound like, could be April 2nd sound like July 4th. Yeah, motherfucker, could be like any day, but stop making it trying to seem like it was a day before the day this nigga got shot.
Yeah, he just made it a week before that happened.
Right. It's like, oh yeah, we made this 2 weeks before and then this thing got shot. It's like, oh, that's not good either. You understand that, right?
That's not good either. Yeah, sounds like a setup.
You understand it looks bad unless it's part of the Ready to Die recording sessions, and I ain't heard not one person say that's part of Ready to Die recording sessions.
But cool, let's use our ears, right?
Nah.
There's nothing on Ready to Die that sounds remotely like the Biggie that is on Who Shot You. There's not. Nothing. What song would you say sounds like the most advanced Biggie on Ready to Die? Like, what do you think of the last couple of songs recorded from that album?
Oh, Mike, I feel like
Big Papa.
No, actually, Mike, I actually think that I'm pretty certain Unbelievable was probably the last record done because Illmatic had dropped.
Okay.
They felt like they needed to get a Primo track because the Nas Primo thing had become the thing because of New York State of Mind, Memory Lane, and Represent. Those records were real big in New York, obviously, around the time while Big is actually recording Ready to Die. So I think Unbelievable is the last record, Mike. And that's what I'm saying. The guy that's going live from Bedford-Stuyvesant, son, the livest one. Represent. That's not the guy who shot you. Separate the weak from the obsolete. Hard to creep. No.
No, it's not.
No. Stop fucking playing with me. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. No. Casey one with the super chat.
Mike, we've been listening to music our whole lives.
Yeah.
It's like you could have maybe fed that to the 13-year-old me.
Right.
Feed that to the 41-year-old me. It's like, Ready to Die was done.
Yeah.
You're a much better MC on Who Shot You.
Mm-hmm. Casey one with the super chat says, Coop, what about Drop a Gem on?
His delivery is different, Mike. Like, he's learned how to use his voice better.
Mm-hmm.
It's heavier.
Casey one said, Coop, what about Drop a Gem on him? What about it?
What about?
This
is after.
Yeah.
That's after.
Yeah. Gil Thompson with the super chat says, has there been an MC whose voice you hated, but can acknowledge that they made a classic album? Huh.
Rigger Raw's right. Listen to these bars, Mike, so you know what to tell Jake, brave nigga, lame nigga, turn front page nigga. Who you talking about? Nas ain't on the front pages in '94.
He not talking about LL either. I know, and it's so crazy that narrative that he's talking about LL comes right before this Clark Kent thing. Like, niggas is trying to change history or something. I mean, I don't know, man.
He's not about to let you do that.
CJ Kidd with a $20 super chat showing love. He says, Who Shot You was originally for Mary J's My Life album. Originally, it was Big, Keith, and LL. You hear Keith's verse on the My Life album. The recording process was from December 93 to September 94. So Big did that before December 94. Okay, let me say this, CJ Kidd. That still could be true, but it can also be true that Big said, you know what? I'm about to tune up these verses and re-record some new shit to a song that's already been lasting. On them? Yeah.
Yeah, how about this? What if Who Shot You wasn't Who Shot You when Keith Murray and LL were on it and became Who Shot You when it became just Big's record?
Yeah, I mean that's
All I'm
possible
saying is
too.
give us some timestamps. How about this, Mike? We still ain't heard the Keith Murray verse in full. Check this word, it's bubonic plague in your head, back, chest, arms, and legs. And he's also used that verse on other songs.
App Studio with
The
the AB
fluid,
Studio.
subterraneans.
Yeah, yes. AB
My
Studios with the
subliminal,
super chat
criminal.
says, "Who shot you hit the streets first on 5th of December in '94." Fact. Huh.
That's very problematic, Mike.
That's literally the same week.
It's literally like 6 days, 7 days later, because ain't 30 days in November or 31.
It's 30, I think. Yeah, because
Six
December
days
has
later?
31. Yeah.
6 days?
Yeah. Turn front page, nigga. I mean, again, we just gotta.
Who in the hell in their right mind would do that?
I mean, LP saying that's insinuating a lot, but it's not really insinuating anything when we know what that artist sounded like, year to year. There's timestamps on Big's flow and vocal tone from 94 to 95. That's why I'm asking people, do you have a Biggie feature from 94 that we could say, you know what? He does sound like the One More Chance Who Shot You Big in 95, but this was released in 94. You know what I mean? We don't have that, I don't think. When was Totals Can't You See? That was 95, right?
Same time.
Yeah.
Give me all the heads from Pasadena to Medina, but get in between them. That's the same guy who shot you, Mike. The same guy.
I mean, I don't think it's far out to say that he could go out there.
So hold on, Mike. Let's say it is that what did he say? December '93 to September '94. First of all, it's a long ass recording session for one song.
Right. And for a nigga who records like that, you know what I'm saying? He did a lot of recording.
A lot.
Yeah.
Of time. But also too, I mean, when Tupac got shot, he was biggest star in rap pretty much. Why would you release this record 6 days later? Because if I'm not mistaken, didn't he get convicted like 3 days after he got shot?
Yep, it was something like that. Yep, they took him straight.
So literally, this record is getting dropped while this nigga's getting hauled into jail. Like, because I remember it kind of happening like that. It felt like he got shot, went to jail, and I started hearing who shot you.
And if that's your man,
if it happened like that, it's very problematic. People do understand that, right? Just inherently off that, it's problematic.
Exactly. And you know what? And I ain't even saying they were the best of friends, right? But even if that's your guy, that whenever he comes in town and just as an artist, you got to respect the game. You shouldn't even do that. Like, even if, you know what I mean? Like, why would anybody do that to somebody that they already know and they know is going through all of that? It's like, you know what? I did record this dope ass song called Who Shot You, but I'm not putting this out right now because my man's going through it and it's going to sound like, this comes together. But
okay,
they did it anyway.
So that's what I'm saying. So let's say this got recorded after Ready to Die, but before the shooting. So let's say Ready to Die comes out in June. This happens in November. So sometime between July and the beginning of November.
Let's say he records it in August or something for whatever reason.
Right. Well, let's pause for a second, Mike. Did any of them go see Pac in jail?
Yeah.
Did any of them hit up Pac's camp or any of Pac's people and clear up any of the confusion that the record caused?
Yeah.
Something not right about that, don't you think?
I agree.
Because if everything's on the up and up, go see the man. He right there in Rikers, right?
Everything's on the up and up.
You flying to Cali, you can definitely go to Rikers because Suge ass damn sure made it to Rikers. That's how we got here. You feel what I'm saying? Because that's what I'm saying. So maybe, listen to what I'm saying, Mike. Well, maybe if y'all go see him and make this solid, Suge don't come. None of this even ends up this way.
Yeah.
So something ain't right.
Exactly. And you know what? And on top of that, like you said,
no matter how you chop it up, fucking up.
Clear it up with the man. Clear it up with his people. And you know what? Go out there and tell radio or whoever, you know what? Don't play this record anymore. You know what I mean? Like, we're chilling on this record. So much unreleased stuff from the 90s anyway because people didn't want to put it out for whatever reason. Why this record continued to get legs, and it wasn't even necessary.
Because here's what it really looks like, and this is kind of like about Big's talent too. Well, it looks like you're just taking my formula and you found the better MC to use my formula and just trying to wipe me off the board altogether. I think you should maybe come up to this prison and talk to me about that.
Exactly.
It don't look right.
Yeah.
Because we some G's, right?
Yeah, just holler at the man.
So we gonna handle it like some G's, right?
But I
So
wish.
we didn't really handle it like no G's, no did
And
they?
again, they were
I
young.
thought King ain't saying that shit though.
They were young. There was a lot of people in people's ear, but I would expect people who are now in their 50s. Yeah, people who are now in their 50s, mid 50s or whatever, go out there and say what you should have did. CJ Kidd with the $20 super chat says, Big's verse stood the same. Look on YouTube. The whole OG version is out. Big's verse is the same, and you hear Kid's full verse. LL didn't do it because he thought that he was getting dissed by Big, just from research. Okay, I'm going to look that up, but I'm telling you, CJ.
I don't change anything I just said, though.
I'm telling you, CJ.
Like, if it happened just like that, then tell me why you didn't go see him. Mm-hmm. Tell me why you didn't make this right. Tell me why you released the record.
Yeah.
I ain't heard no answers worth a damn about any of those questions.
And nobody says anything about those things. Everybody says, "Oh, well, you know, he ain't do it. It was this and this."
Because this is what I mean about how it gets highlighted. People, Mike, I just think about it different. People always bring up the fact that Suge went there. I'm like, no. How Suge beat y'all there is the question. He was right there. Y'all was right there. Suge's over there. The real question is that how did Suge make it to Rikers before you niggas, unless something was wrong?
Because if that's my man, the first thing I'm doing, I'm going there, and then I'm going to the hospital, number one, and then after that, like you said, Rikers. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, I do agree.
I don't like hospital, especially if I feel like a nigga been shot a bunch and about to die. I wait outside the hospital in the parking lot. I can feel that. So I can feel that, but no. Oh, he lived and he's in Rikers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to make that trip because, in the streets, it's not going to end up well if I don't make that trip, Mike. And look what happened. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's like, no, when you do stuff like that in the streets, you have to go make that right. It is not about to play. We all knew this. You know this at a young age. I ain't trying to hear that they was young. Nah, fam.
Yeah.
We all know better very, very early on. That ain't how it gets played. You didn't want to go up there because something was wrong.
CJ Kidd with the super chat says, I do agree. However, no matter when it was recorded, it was bad timing.
It's awful.
Very
dumb.
Yeah.
Very dumb. 2 people are gone now.
Yeah. And, the whole music world was shaken up. And I would imagine, again, I hate to bring it down to economics and things of that nature. I'm sure that the whole hip-hop community suffered financially, from touring with all of the bad publicity that this violence brought. The insurance went up, I'm sure, for any promoters who's doing a hip-hop concert. That's why they were really highlighting with the Hard Knock Life tour that there was no violence, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, what are they talking about? They're talking about that. And I'm sure that casted a dark cloud over the hip-hop game and industry from that standpoint as well. But none of that had to happen.
Mike, imagine this. Okay, so you've owned According to Hip Hop's Belief since 2013, right?
Mm-hmm.
I came on 2016.
Mm-hmm. Something like that. 16, 17.
16, 17. I think we started talking about it in 16. I think it's actually started happening 17. So, Mike, very similar, much like, how Pac was kind of here a few years before Big. You were doing this a few years before me. Now, let's say that we're coming up in this field together, Mike, and that we're supposed to be at the same place at the same time. You and me, we have a relationship. Now, we're not the best of friends. You have your crew and I have my crew. But every time I pull up, it's love between your crew, and love between my crew. And it's never been a problem, Mike. Mike, you get shot. And I'm in the building. I don't go see you at the hospital, and then you go to jail, and I don't go see you in jail. Are we still close in your mind and in
And then,
your heart?
and then I hear you got a record out called "Who Shot You."
We don't even got to get to the record. That's why I'm pausing right there. We
Yeah.
can pause right there. Like, let's take the record out of it.
Yeah.
Let's really just look at it inherently like a human being situation.
Yeah.
You don't go see me in the hospital and check on me. You don't go see me in jail. I'm in your city on your side of town. I'm in your neighborhood. I'm all through your stomping grounds. You probably got dudes up in this jail that can help look out for me and even take care of me, probably.
A situation like that should make us closer. You know what I'm saying? Like, that should be a moment where, you know what I'm saying, you reach out and you be like, you know what? Coop's really, really good people. This ain't just some industry shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But at the point that you don't do those things, you're probably looking at me like, man, fuck this nigga Coop.
Like,
and then Mike, the guy from all the way over there, who you kind of know from the Above the Rim days and the Above the Rim soundtrack, when Death Row was getting started. Oh, he comes to check up on you. And maybe when he sits down, Mike, he's like, hey, don't you think it's kind of funny how that happened in their neighborhood on their watch? And these niggas ain't come see about you in hospital, in court, or in prison? I tell you what, I'm going to get you out of here and put about 100 G's in your pocket, and you going to ride with us. What you going to do?
Exactly. Yeah.
You see how not checking up on him changed literally the course of everything?
Yeah. But no one
That's how
ever.
the streets really work, Mike. Suge, this is what I mean. People be talking about Suge. No. Suge did what a real street dude's supposed to do. He see what Pac say on Hail Mary, peeped the weakness in the rap game and sold it. He peeped the weakness in their movements, and he went and snatched Pac.
Yeah.
And nothing was ever the same after that.
You right.
And so, Mike, unless something was wrong, why all that happened?
Exactly. James Smith with the super chat says Big went to the hospital after Pac was shot. First I've ever heard of that. CJ Kidd with the super chat says so many people wanted to get Pac out. Jay Prince and Warren G planned to at different times. Suge just beat them to it. AB Studio.
How? Explain to me how and why that should happen, though, if he's right there and you're right there and Suge is all the way over here.
Because the thing is, Coop.
You know how geography works, right, Mike? And the time on flights?
Coop. The thing is, man, Pac wasn't going nowhere. It wasn't like he was moving around. He was in jail.
In a cell.
How did he beat them to it? Like, the man was there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, he might have beat them to it being there by Tuesday and they got there by Thursday, but he was there.
Like, they could have drove there and beat Suge on a regular flight. Like, let's say it's like Pac's in prison. Go. It's like the drive is shorter than the flight is.
This is true. AB Studio with the super chat says December 5th, the DJs had it first. So he recorded sometime between December 1st and 5th. Right when Pac was found guilty and suffering in the hospital. Foul. AB Studio sound like he has some inside information. You a DJ or you got some DJs in the tri-state area that got this?
I told you when the niggas talking about it got recorded in 94. I'm like, oh, when he get shot? November 30th? Yeah, December 2nd. 2 days.
Because the DJs...
A date to write and a date to recite. Even if it's in your head, a date to write in your head and then a date to recite it out. You MC before you know how it goes.
He said the DJs got it by December 5th. Hold on 1 second. We got a package. Hold on.
Clinton, Rikers, my bad BCM. I feel like he was in Rikers too. Was he in Rikers for something else?
Appreciate that, man. Go. Sorry about that. You know what I'm saying? UPS and whatnot. Anyway, but yeah, he said the DJs got it on December 5th. And they had it first. Well, you know what? At that point, and I think AB Studio might be a DJ or know some DJs in that area, maybe we need to ask the DJs when they got it. Because I don't think anybody who was in the recording side of it's even going to tell us, you know, when that shit was really recorded. But again, based on his flow and voice, I'm I'm gauging the December thing is on point.
I'm saying that's why I mean it's like this is what I be talking about. It's like I don't like talking about this, Mike, because it's like, oh no, I'm gonna tell you the truth.
Yeah. Davis
That's why I
Lewis
don't like
Love.
talking about it, because it's like, oh no. It's like, oh yeah, we did that in September '94. It's like, oh, did you?
Right.
It's like, really? It's like, why you release it then?
Exactly. You know, at that point, like you said,
That's what I'm saying.
That's even worse because it gives you that real cognitive time to say, you know what? Nah, we're not putting this out right now.
That's what I'm saying, Mike. It's like, well, what type of murderer are you? It's like, are you the type of killer that kills instantly, or are you the type of killer that waits? Because it's like, you look like a killer anyway you toss.
It looks bad. It looks bad. And like you said, the fact that they never went and hollered at the man, that looks bad. Davis Lewis Love of the Super Chat says, it makes you wonder, Puff being the businessman should have got Pac out and put him on Bad Boy with Big, unless he knew something.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, there's a multitude of ways to make this right. I don't give him a little kite, Mike. Like the 10 G's and Pac commissary from you guys.
BCMD correcting us, and he's right. He says Pac was jailed in Clinton correctional facilities. Yeah, he was in Clinton, Max.
Sorry.
And that interview at Clinton, Max, is.
I feel like he was in Rikers too, Mike. I feel like
he might have got transported or something at some point, or transferred. But I do remember the interview being at Clinton correctional, and that's a very, very interesting interview. And like I said, we need to highlight that interview a lot more because even in the mainstream,
if I die in here,
huh?
He was talking about if I die in here.
Yeah. But you know what?
What's going on, Mike?
He didn't even, the whole narrative when he came out, you remember, and this is Interscope being the super incredible marketing machine that they are. The narrative when he came out was, oh man, he got a double disc because he just been inside writing this, that, and the third. And I remember him saying in that interview, which they didn't publicize a lot at the time, he was like, man, I'm not inspired to write in here. People think that I'm over here, writing a whole bunch of raps, man. Like, ain't nothing around here that he's like, this is not the spot. Jail is not the place to be. And yeah, I really wish that a lot of those interviews would have got publicized as much as some of the other stuff that was a lot more volatile, because I think that's one of his most insightful interviews, because he was in the midst of it all, but he was still very collected, thinking straight, because the narrative kind of is on him at that point. He's lost his mind. He's wilding. He's this, and that. No, he was very calculated at that time.
How about this? The guy in prison with no drugs or alcohol in his system still felt like somebody had done something to him.
Exactly.
And this is what people keep on missing. No. This guy was highly intelligent, Mike, and trained by Black Panthers.
Exactly.
Hello. Yeah. We have a highly intelligent black man trained by Black Panthers that feel like he was set up.
Yeah. But this is all in his head or whatever.
But this nigga's crazy.
Yeah. Davis Lewis Love with the Super Chat says, the fact that Puff and Big in L.A. too, so-called promoting an album when you live in the media capital of the world is highly suspect. BCMD with the Super Chat says, it was truly a dark time and still invokes emotion. Yeah, man, definitely was. And all of it could have been prevented, but like I said, I don't like the fact that it's being told a certain way 30 years later.
No, it needs to be told the right way.
It needs to be told the right way.
Suge saw what was going on and was like, oh, something going on. Hey, Pac, what's going on?
Did he say the same thing in that Tabitha Sorn interview? I hadn't watched that in a minute, that MTV Tabitha Sorn interview.
I remember when Suge was talking about, Suge was like, "Wasn't nobody going to see Pac?" He's like, "Don't you think that's strange?"
And I remember Pac saying, even in that Clinton correctional interview, he was like I said, Donnie Simpson was making jokes about him getting raped and this and that. So he was catching it from the mainstream. And I think a lot of people don't really remember that when television was king, television and radio was king, they could go out there with a rumor and it could really float. It wasn't like the internet where rumors can get smashed like immediately. You remember the Lil' Kim rumor that they had out there and her getting her stomach pumped and all that shit. Like, rumors really caught legs back then. And he was catching it, from all angles. And yeah, like you said, people weren't coming to check on him or nothing like that. Yeah. Me against the world, for real. And on that note, we can go on to the next topic.
People just don't think it. You don't think it's odd? And it's like, this is what you want to say? It's like, well, if Pac wouldn't have lied. Lied about what? We still trying to figure out. Look, we still trying to figure out why we can't get a straight answer out the other side. At least we have a very clear timeline on what happened to Tupac and how and why, because Tupac was very clear about the timeline on the what and the how.
And calling him
repeatedly, Mike, and repeatedly reminded us on the other side. It's like, well, between December 93 and September 94, and then if you take the 5 and divide it by the 3 and then multiply it by 7, it's like, hold on. When we start doing math about a straight answer, nigga, like...
And calling this man a lie when he's not here to defend himself, I don't think is the right move either. Like, even if you want to use different terminologies, but to say he lied, no. You could say he was misinformed, you know what I mean? Or you could say that, he took things out of context or whatever, but to just sit here and say he lied is to say that, you know what, he knew the truth, but he chose to say something else instead. And that part, based on everything else that we just said, I just think is dishonest. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not cool. And this is coming from...
I want to know if this man got shot on November 30th, and you all from your camp release a record called Who Shot You literally 6 days later. I want to know when exactly that song got recorded and what made you want to release it at that time. This is what I'm saying, Mike. It's like this, Mike. When you catch a case, between manslaughter and murder, Mike, you know what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Intention. So, let's say the intent was not malicious, as in the record got recorded in that December 93 to September to 94 time. Mike, that's still manslaughter.
Right.
You're still doing 10 to 15. Why you acting
it's
like
still a crime. Yeah.
Why you acting like this is what I'm talking about. I'm like talking about why you acting like the 10 to 15 okay, my nigga.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no, for real. Why you acting like the 10 to 15 okay? Now, if that shit got recorded on December 1st or 2nd, that's murder.
Yeah.
But either way, a crime has been committed. Let's talk about the crime.
Yeah. The record shouldn't have been put out.
Let's not talk about, Mike, and if we juxtapose, let's not talk about the victim to the crime. Let's talk about the crime.
Yeah. BCMD with the super chat says Wendy Williams started that rumor about Pac. I believe it. And a lot of Wendy Williams rumors back then used to travel.
Talking about, we did that was during the Ready to Die sessions. Okay, manslaughter. Give him 15 years instead of life. I'm sorry. What the fuck are we doing?
Listen, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, and this is as a big fan and Bad Boy fan also. I don't believe that Who Shot You was recorded during the Ready to Die sessions. You could tell somebody else that. There's no evidence on that album to make me believe that.
And this is what I mean about manslaughter, Mike. Even still with the intention. Mike, isn't Who Shot You better than about 90% of the records on Life After Death?
Yeah, just like One More Chance is.
So, One More Chance was literally, the remix was good enough to totally repackage Ready to Die again.
Mm-hmm.
Telling me Who Shot You is not good enough to hold till Life After Death?
Exactly.
Unless your intentions, Mike,
you're right,
are not good.
Yeah, they could have.
Mike, and I didn't realize it, Mike, because I'm going to tell you what, I didn't realize it this year till I talked to Glove, and that's what I mean about this being problematic, and I want timestamps on it. What did Glove tell us about the first time he heard Eminem?
Yeah, he said he heard the real Slim Shady in 1997.
I was like, hold on. I'm like, hold on, Glove, that 3 years. He's like, no, he said, that's when you heard it, Coop.
Yep. He forgot about Dre in 1997 for the people that didn't check, haven't seen Coop's interview with the Glove.
Don't
and
make it. And
you have told us that some of your people that run with the Bad Boy camp, they say similar things, that you can hold on to a record because only you know when it was created. So, like you said, I don't understand why Who Shot You doesn't get saved into Big's next album, at least, or the Junior Mafia album, at least.
The second part right out of my mouth, I learned when I was an artist from somebody that used to roll with their camp, that Coop, nobody knows how old the song is except you. in your camp. Yeah.
There's no timestamp on Who Shot You. That record sounds like it could have easily been on Life After Death.
Easy.
That doesn't sound like 93, 94. It doesn't.
All right. So why release this record just arbitrarily with no purpose? It's not like Who Shot You went platinum, Mike.
It's for the streets.
Manslaughter or murder.
Davis Lewis with the super chat says, if my friend gets shot, coming to see me, I won't have to go visit him in the hospital. I'm following the ambulance to the hospital.
Ooh, facts.
It's real, man.
You're right, Mike. Like Mike, if I'm there when you get hit up or vice versa, you are following the ambulance.
Yeah. Even if it's somebody I don't even know like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Somebody I met a couple times.
Like, how about this? Have we been in studio sessions like more than 3 or 4 or 5 times together? Yeah, I'm probably going to go.
There's people I've been to high school with that passed on. And I didn't know them like that when we was in school or after school. But I would go to the funeral or the wake or something to support because I knew that person.
Mike, I went to a vigil with my ex with Fee because one of her dearest friends' neighbor died. Went to a vigil off Gresham in Decatur, like just because it's the right thing to do. Yeah. Never even knew the man. Just came to pay some respect.
Yeah.
It ain't hard.
It ain't. And again, throwing the blame elsewhere is not the movie.
I told you it's very problematic. They shouldn't have got me started.
Well, we can go on to the production thing because I know we don't have a whole lot of time. They like when we do our midday thing.
I wish I would get shot, go to jail, and niggas make a song about me getting shot.
Or a subliminal about some random person getting shot, I guess.
Allegedly is all I need.
Yeah. Allegedly it's about LL Cool J.
They did a what? They dropped what? It's like, oh, Mike, I'm like, wait till I get out.
So how about this? This is what we're supposed to believe, that this record's about LL, but it just happened to be released after Pac.
You can't give me $100,000 in my freedom after that, Mike. You're going to need security around me, like to keep me off their ass when I get off, Mike. That's what the security is going to be for. The security is not going to be to protect me. It's going to keep me from going to go get them. They could get in the studio. It's like, no. As soon as I go handle these niggas about this shit right here.
Yeah, man. And that's what it was, man. But again, it feels like
happy he went to. That's what I'm saying. Mike better be happy he went to the studio and talk shit. That is not a going to the studio and talking shit type of thing. That's not about to come see your ass type of thing.
Yeah, it feels like the controversy sales thing was kind of in the front of many people's mind that was involved in the situation. I guess they weren't thinking about all the extra stuff that was going to happen, but it happened, you know?
I don't know, Mike, because I'm being honest. This is a black man that's in his early 20s that had been through what Pac had been through. It's like, no, I would have got out the facility and been like, so, where are they? Y'all been keeping track of where are they now?
Like you said, man, he was dealing with so much. Like you said, he was dealing with the police shooting situation. He was dealing with the alleged rape situation. And now I got to deal with this too. You know what I'm saying? It's like, God damn, man. You know what I'm going through, and you going to put this out? And not only are you going to put this out, and you know what I'm going through, you ain't even hollering at me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what the fuck I'm going through.
23, 24, 25-year-old me, Mike, is going to try to burn everything that you have down to the ground. Like, literally. Like, every house, every estate you have, I would try to burn it to the ground at that age. Like, about something like that. It's like I would want you left with nothing.
Yeah. Again, man, when you think about it and you unpack all of these things, I think Pac actually handled it the best anybody could handle it.
Couldn't be.
I don't think it could have been handled even better.
Not 35-year-old you, Mike. Not 40-year-old you. Early 20s. Oh, Mike, I'm trying to get addresses, numbers, driver's license. Let's do it all, Mike. It was what it was like 9. Oh, it was still MapQuest 2. Couldn't digitally track anybody. Oh, it's a problem.
Yeah, it kind of feels like the Cube thing too with America's Most, right? I don't feel like Pac was even really throwing a lot of shots at Big on All Eyes on Me.
He was.
He really wasn't.
He's really just calling like conceited.
Yeah, I mean, like All Eyes on Me, he kind of was minding his business. It wasn't to Machiavelli where he really started
No
going
more
in.
pain's not minding your business, Mike.
What's that?
No more pain's not minding your business.
Yeah,
That's not minding your business.
yeah,
On the pistol, nigga. No, that's not minding your business.
yeah. No More Pain is that moment on that record. My adversaries cry like foes. Philly eradicate my foes. My lyrics for the phone contact. Game on you. Who else? Was Mama's only son.
Fuck the phony niggas on the run. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Now Hollow and Ready, they watching now figures.
Could have been much worse though. If that's the only time he's really addressing him on there, that's pretty light.
It's all these niggas that you run with, be on some dumb shit, trick on our homes. Yeah. I ain't the one, bitch. Who you think he talking to?
Well, he's just telling his story at this point. Right? He's just telling his story at that point.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you do some shit like that to me, I'm coming to burn down your whole village at 23. So, like, you should be happy if it's just a rap song. I'm coming for you in real life. If you, Mike, I get shot. Mike, he could have died 5 times. Buster shot me 5 times. Real niggas don't. No.
Yeah.
Shot 5 times. Mike, what Jada Kiss say in Checkmate? Never has it been cool to get shot and not shoot back. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's terrible, man.
It's bad.
It's a very dark time, and again, none of that shit even had to happen.
All they had to do was go see that, man. So all that had to
Communication, man. Communication. And hopefully the current era and every era after it should learn from what happened there. And again, that's my only problem with people telling this story in a certain way. And they were doing it in the Biggie biopic and all that. No, tell the truth, because generations can learn from that and make sure that they communicate and move forward. That's it. Born Gift with the super chat. Well, it's not a super chat, but he says he didn't, Mike. He waited 4 months after All Eyes on Me was multi-platinum and then released Hit 'Em Up, Atomic Bomb. Yes, okay. Well, on that note, let's go on to this production conversation, because you put together 50 best beats all time, right? And I'm still working on my list. I'm actually trying to find where my list is. But I wanted to have a conversation about production, because the way I was doing my list was I was getting 10 beats from the 80s, 10 beats from the 90s, 10 beats from the early 2000s, 2010s, and I was just going to get 10 random ones from the best overall. And you said something that was interesting to me. You said you're really not a fan, or no, you didn't say you're not a fan of 80s production, but you didn't think many 80s beats would fit in that conversation. And I guess I want to ask, like, what's great hip-hop production consist of? And what are we basing that production level on? Because influence is big to me. And the 80s beats got a lot of that.
There has to be a balance between, like, if it can't all be influence, because influence is sometimes with influence is nostalgia.
True.
And so we can't let nostalgia necessarily reign supreme. You know, like,
I agree with that.
Like, I'm gonna tell you what came on this morning when I was working out, Mike. Hustle Hard by Ace Hood. It's like, I thought about that beat. It's like, nah, that beat better than most of them 80s beats, Mike. You feel what I'm saying?
Okay.
It is. There's been an evolution and an upgrade in the formulas. And so some of these
and technology too.
But some songs are just so inherently great, and the beat is so inherently great that it just stays, Mike. They reminisce over you. Nothing but a G thing. So it's like, it can still happen. I just don't think, I think it happens more in the 90s than the 80s, beat-wise, is my opinion. I think what is special about the 80s are the words. Like, Love's Gonna Get You by KRS-One. That's not a beat that everybody remembers, but everybody remembers that mic performance. You know what I'm saying?
What would you say about stuff like Houdini's Friends, though? Because we hear that beat throughout time, like, or even One
Friends.
Love.
I could see Friends or One Love. I get what you're saying, but this is what I'm saying. It's like, then I hear some shit like Hustle Hard, and it's like, well, which one do you want to rap
What
over?
strikes you about Hustle Hard in the beat? Is it the way it's hitting or
It's the way it slaps, yeah.
okay? So
It's the way it drops. It's the way it's engineered too. It comes through very, very nicely.
okay,
It's very well.
clarity is a part of it too.
That's why Dr. Dre is the best, Mike. Dr. Dre is the
That
best
is
because
why
of the
Dr. Dre
clarity
is the
his
best.
beats provide. Right.
That's why you're about to be in trouble with this Death Row family versus Wu Tang.
Oh no, Mike. I feel like I should be the underdog in this because
You should
you
be
have
right.
yeah. I'm the underdog in this. I'm
Now,
picking Wu Tang still.
I mean, we're gonna get back to the beat stuff, but I do want to ask: should I be able to use Deep Cover? Because I don't think Deep Cover is technically a Death Row record.
Then no, Mike. Then you can't use it. You got plenty of stuff to go off of. I don't feel sorry for you. It's like, oh, Mike, don't get to use Deep Cover. It's like, oh, use the other 50 classic songs they made. I don't know.
Hold on, let's see what the Deep Cover soundtrack
Like
was.
you have stuff like what would you do with the Dog Pound and Snoop, Mike? I don't even know if that would make your top 20. That's classic.
Yeah, it is. Deep
Right.
Cover was on Solar Records and Epic Records.
Sorry, Mike. Hate it for you,
So I
Mike.
guess that doesn't constitute.
I hate it for you, Mike.
But yes. So it's about the clarity. It's about the way it's hitting. So by that, I feel like maybe a lot of the southern beats might get a leg up too.
That's part of what my rationale has been with some of it. And here's the problem with Southern beats is that there are so many great Southern beats that have similar tones to them that it's hard to differentiate. That's why this is what I mean. And that's where nostalgia does take over in the South, where something like, well, my mind playing tricks on me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, no. That beat is not better than the Hustle Hard beat technically, but Mike, about the nostalgia though. You know what I'm saying? And about the impact that song is just so ridiculous. You get what I'm saying? So, Mike, there are moments like that, like Children's Story.
Okay.
So,
But
you know
are
what I'm
you
saying?
taking the words
Hall
out of
Fame,
it?
Paid in Full, like those beats, yeah, but the majority, no. I'm thinking about the majority, not the top of the top, but the majority of the 80s beats, no. I'd have to tell you no.
Are we taking the words out of it? Because I know when you and I were doing our verses,
I'm saying, like,
people were asking us if we would just play the instrumentals. So are you taking the words out of it and you're just looking at the beat?
I'm doing my best to do that, Mike. That's why it's like when I listen to Microphone Fiend, it's like, is that about the words? It's like, yeah, but that beat is ridiculous. And it's clear. Like for me, Microphone Fiend is the best beat between the first two Rakim albums.
Really?
It's the best beat between the first two. I was a fiend before. Yeah, Mike, it's the beat. Like Follow the Leader is about the bars.
I'm not a big Follow the Leader fan as far as the beat goes. Now, I love the song.
I'm saying, Mike, but even the Paid in Full beat, Mike, that's still about Rakim's flow and the bars on there because you never really heard nobody rap like that. You know what I mean? Stop. Still don't nothing move but the money.
My favorite beat on it's still Eric B. is President.
That's not better than Microphone Fiend beat-wise to me. I think Paid in Full beat-wise is actually still better than Eric B. is President Sightly. If I was picking right now today about the drums, actually.
What about I Ain't No Joke?
That's
My Melody?
The bar work on there is just otherworldly for that time period.
What about My Melody?
No, not good enough. That's one of those 80s beats where I'm like, no, My Melody ain't making it.
You know another Rakim start off that we missed the other day when we were talking about top 5, I guess, opening lines or whatever. It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without a strong rhyme to step to. He has all the opening lines.
He does.
So it makes it very difficult to even judge his production.
As you hear it, pump up the volume.
He makes it very difficult to judge his production because all of his production was on point, but the way he was in pocket and the stuff that he was saying and the way that those records came together and they were bangers, it's like he's the star, but the production was on point too.
But he's always a star, but there are some of his beats that are succinctly better to me. It's like Know the Ledge, Mike. It's one of his.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Know the Ledge is the truth. I
That beat
do think
crazy.
that. What do you think about
Microphone
the
crazy.
lyrics of Fury beat? Because I think that beat could be better. It's
That's
him.
what I'm saying, Mike. That ain't making the cut.
Now I do love the funky drummer loop and all that stuff, but
Oh,
lyrics
it's
of
great.
Fury
Literally,
is
it's
about
literally,
him.
it's literally the funky drummer loop, and it's great. Not making the cut. You can't
Uh,
put it next to the Bridges Over and Children's Story and Microphone Fiend and tell me it deserves to stand next to him beat wise. Like
so
that's what I'm saying. If you take the words out, it wouldn't stand up.
okay, let's do this. The Message is that an all-time great beat,
Yeah,
top 50.
yeah. The message.
All right, so The Message. What about? I'm thinking between One Love and Friends.
I think Friends is the one that's been used the most.
Friends a top 50 hip hop beat all time.
I'm 50-50 on that, but I feel where you're coming from, and there's probably a generation before us that would say yes. So
Rebel Without a Pause.
I would say Welcome to the Terror Dome. Oh, that's 90.
That's
Okay.
90. Yeah, because no one had heard anything like that.
Yeah, that's
shit
cool. I'm about to say,
before.
Mike, for innovation purposes, that's fine.
Rebel Without a Pause, and that's mostly where the '80s stuff is gonna fit in and innovation. What do
How
you
about
think
this?
about Rock the Bells?
I would do Jingling, baby.
Is that the '80s or is that '90?
I feel like that's 89
Okay.
specific. So I would do Jingling, baby over that. Here's what I mean, Mike. You feel like Rebel Without a Pause is better than Boys in the Hood beat wise?
I was gonna mention Boys in the Hood. No.
Do you think it's better than The Bridge is Over?
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, Boys in the Hood definitely. Even though that straight out of Compton beat is vicious.
It is. It's. I think the Boys in the Hood beat is a little better.
I think it is too, and I think it's been copied a lot more too.
As well it should. It's still arguably top 5 West Coast beat.
I mean, Megan just copied it not too long ago.
Top 5 West Coast.
KC1 with the super chat says, but the RZA is the most influential producer ever. What do you say to that? You think RZA is the most influential producer ever?
Influential.
Where's his influence seen mostly? In the early Kanye sampling, soul sample era?
I feel like he's the architect for the greatest run that we've ever seen in rap. So in that regard, yes, very influential.
Top billing. It's a good one. I think that's
I'm with Tom
definitely
Glenn.
a top 50.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Think about it, Mike. You're not naming a lot of beats, though. That's what I'm saying. It ain't like that in the 80s. You know what I thought about, Mike? Ain't No Half Stepping. What do you think of the Ain't No Half Stepping beat?
I love the Ain't No Half Stepping beat, but
Sure, but where does it really-
I want to get to Biz Markie, Make the Music with Your Mouth though. I mean, again, it's another one that's been flipped a lot.
See, that's what I mean about that nostalgia and impact. But how? See, you're talking about the flip of it, but how impactful is the record? Because like, Ain't No Half Stepping is more impactful
For the beat?
for the culture. Like when the Ain't No Half Stepping beat comes on, it's like, oh, it's like that's.
Because we know what's about to come when he's rapping Step Up To Me. You know what I'm saying? Like, no. We know Kane's about to come in. I think there's a different effect because of the lyrics that are coming in.
You think inherently, if we were to take the what we know the bar work is out, you're saying the biz beat's better.
Definitely.
Okay.
That doon. That shit's crazy.
Okay. I'm with you.
What do you think about It Takes Two and Push It? I see in the chat too.
I don't know about Push It.
I would be more inclined.
Too. That's what I mean.
I would be more inclined to go supersonic.
I got it made over both of those. If we're talking about beat.
Okay.
Because they were dancing to that. I'm your highest, the highest title, numero uno. Yeah. I got it made.
What do you think about Supersonic? No?
No.
Very influential.
No.
Huh. Nobody beats the biz. I like that one too. I actually like both of those over Ain't
I
No
like
Hap
nobody
Stuff.
beats the biz better than making music with your mouth.
I thought about both of them, and I played both of them back to back. I like the song "Nobody Beats the Biz" more, but I think that the "Make the Music with Your Mouth's the better beat.
You might have a point.
Um, BMCD with the super chat says Africa Bambaataa Planet Rocks beat. What say
Yes.
you?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, no, I'm
No, I
not putting.
mean the music got to stand alone. I feel you.
No, no, it don't. Not when you do stuff like that. No,
Yeah, it's terrible.
I'm not putting him in anything. Kiss my entire ass. I'm not doing it.
Paper Thin, I had on my sheet too. The
Paper
breaks.
Thin's up there. I
Paper
can see
Thin's a
Paper
bang.
Thin. That's like a three in a possible. You know what I'm saying? It's a good hand.
Black Still in the Hour of Chaos. I love that. Jam on It. That takes you to a time. Jam on It by Nucleus. Ooh, this is a good one. James Smith says, "So What You Saying" by EPMD. That's actually one of my personal favorite. I think You're a Customer might be my favorite beat from EPMD, but So What You Saying is right there. You're a Customer's tough.
I want both of those actually. We can do that.
Okay. Um, let's see what else people. Yeah. So what you saying? Set It Off.
Are you writing these down?
Planet Rock. Yeah, I'm writing these down.
Okay.
So what you saying? And I got You're a Customer. I'm gonna listen to both of those back to back and make an assessment. I think You're a Customer, possibly. You know what? The 80s is actually deeper than the 2000s for me, I believe. Because the 2000s, I went Grinding, I went Made You Look. I think What You Know's in there too. I think You Don't Know is in there.
You don't think One is in there by Ghostface?
One is heavy. I need to go think about that. I was actually listening to Supreme Clientele this morning, by the
Of
way.
course you would. That might be Juju's best beat, Mike.
Yeah. I don't know. It's between that.
What, Off the Books remix?
I love Off the Books. But one of my favorites, man, is Beat Nuts Forever. You remember that?
Yeah, of course.
East to West. Every needing the best is gonna find you with a crowbar stuck in your chest. Yeah. Show 305 time with the super chat says, Poor Righteous Teachers, rock this funky joint. Ronnie O and Joe Cooley, Everlasting Bass. I like the Everlasting Bass pick.
I don't.
You don't like dun 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 dun. That's a staple. You're talking about the quality at that point. I guess I'm thinking impact.
That's what I'm saying, though.
Because if you want to put Everlasting Bass, yeah.
Yeah, it's got you stuck on the impact. Think about the beats. I'll take Jump On It before I'll take Everlasting Bass.
Because you can't really put Everlasting Bass next to G Thing or something. Or the whole Chronic. Yeah. Deep Cover.
That's it. That's the 90s.
No, I'm just saying. I'm skipping up generations now. Because let's do the difficult task.
Did you put Children's Story down?
Yeah, I got Children's Story down. Let's do the difficult task of trying to pick 10 beats from the 90s.
Well, we just picked like 20 beats from the 80s. Why the 90s only getting 10?
We didn't pick 20. Okay, let's get 20 from the 90s then. John Dixon with the super chat says, the Gas Face, Third Base.
Nah.
What are the best beats from the 90s?
Shook Ones Part 2 and Quiet Storm.
Well, Cream
Award Tour, They Reminisce Over You.
What do you think about OPP?
It's all about the Benjamins.
Okay. Do you think Uptown Anthem or any of those Naughty by Nature songs belong here?
So you're talking about the beat, right? You understand Tretch was an animal, right?
Tretch was an animal. I was listening
and
to
that's
them.
not to knock KG. Welcome to the Terradome, Mike, is 1990, so you can go ahead and put that down.
Welcome to the Terradomes there. Hold on. We had Shook Ones 2. Shook Ones 2, Cream.
Quiet Storm. Award Tour.
Mm-hmm.
Troy.
Of course.
Mike, Who Shot You?
Okay.
Lucchini. It's All About the Benjamins. Welcome to the Terror Dome. Ambitions as a Rider.
Hmm.
You can pause on that if you want to.
Yeah. What do you think about? I see someone saying Triumph.
No.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest, guys. I've never been a huge fan of the Triumph beat. Even on that album specifically, I don't even know if it's a top 5 beat on that album. For me,
It's not. Bells of War is a better beat.
I'm
MGM's a
going
better
with
beat.
Heaters.
Heaters. Cash Still Rules. Scary Hours is a better beat.
Scary
Older
Hours.
Gods is a better beat.
Yeah.
Reunited's a better beat. It's Yours might be a better beat.
I think so. For me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's the
Impossible's a
mic
better beat.
performances that's on Triumph that really take it to
Dog
that
Shit's
level.
a better beat than Triumph. Oh, yeah.
You think Dog Shit is?
Yeah.
Dog Shit is crazy.
It's crazy. The horns on there.
What do you think about Brooklyn Zoo?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
I think Brooklyn Zoo is actually one
We
of the
need to reach out to
strongest.
True Master. True Master's in the A, Mike. We need to reach out
Yeah,
to
we
True.
need to reach out to True Master. Ooh, Glaciers of Ice. Jeez.
Mike, that's why I say you said 90 beats. It's like up to Purple Tape. In.
Well, okay. Since we're speaking on RZA again, we're speaking on what is
That's where it's
RZA's.
not like the influence. It's like pick 10 90 beats. It's like you can pick 10 RZA beats.
So is RZA the most impactful producer in hip hop?
If we're talking about quality for a period of time, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. If what we measure is quality, he had the best product on the block, Mike, for about 5 years.
Over Premier.
Nobody, Mike, no producer's ever had the best product on the block 5 years straight. You feel what I'm saying? Like, not even Dre. Dre had 2 years straight. He had Doggy Style, and he had The Chronic. You know what I'm saying? And then it was 10 years before he had it again. No, RZA had 93, 94, 95, 96, 97. Yeah, that was real. That happened, Mike. As a producer, he had 93, 94, 95, 96, 97. That happened.
So essentially, y'all are saying that RZA is the producer of the 90s. Or is that still Dre?
Yeah, he is. Like, Dre is all time because Dre has pieces of the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, but the 90s is RZA. And I know that's the middle of Preem's run, too, but I'm sorry, Preem doesn't have... He made Liquid Swords in the Purple Tape, Mike. He made them back to back.
Yeah.
That's like the season Jordan averaged 37, and then he came back and averaged 35, 8, and 8.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, he's better than everybody else. That's what Liquid Swords. That's what the Purple Tape and Liquid Swords is. It's like, okay, he's better than everybody else.
And then Old Dirty's album comes out that year too.
Before. That's the precursor, Mike. That's what I'm saying. And what comes after Liquid Swords is Iron Man. It's like, no, ain't nobody ever did that, Mike.
It's true. Think you got burnt out?
Huh?
Think you got burnt out?
Mike, it's the best run ever. Absolutely got burned out.
Yeah.
No question about it. Because here's what I'm saying, Mike. Go listen to the beats on Takal. Those beats are crazy, Mike. Mr. Sandman.
Yeah.
Biscuits. Yeah. The beat to Biscuits is nuts, Mike.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about the Takal album anymore because of all the great stuff that came after it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mike, it's pretty epic, Mike.
Yeah, he did a lot of work on Wu-Tang Forever too.
Cream. Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. Can it all be so simple? Chess boxing. Just beat-wise.
I'm going to reach out to True Master today. Or I'm going to reach out to his people and see if we can,
Bring the pain?
Yeah, bring the...
That verse, Chef?
See, you know what, man? You're right. I don't even think about stuff like Bring the Pain.
Mike. He is the producer of Shimmy Shimmy Yawn. Baby, come on. Rawhide.
Yeah.
Snakes with the Jizza. All of the Purple Tape and Liquid Swords, Mike. Iron Man. He produced everything on Iron Man except for Fish. That's True Master again. True Master's a beast, Mike.
He is.
He did Fish, too.
This is making me think about...
Tremaine, the homie Tremaine from Boulevard Homes, the first one to put me on True Master. He used to be like, the nigga True Master can make a beat, cool.
So, you still got Dre as number one, right?
All time.
But...
We're picking the 90s. It's RZA. Ain't nobody, it's not even close.
Where do you think RZA is all time, period? Just based on that
off the run, Mike. He's top 5 off the run. That's what I'm saying, because it's never been done. How about this? The only reason Preem and RZA's even a conversation is because Preem made Moment of Truth. Like, you understand that the Biggie, Jay, and Nas records ain't enough for Preem to take RZA's shit down. That's how epic it is. He need Moment of Truth just to make it a fight, Mike. And this is after Mass Appeal and Dwig. You feel me?
He needs more Moment of Truth, in my opinion, because again, you got multiple albums here. You got Into the 36, which we're not even talking about. And you got we got Only Built for Cuban Links, and we got Liquid Swords, right? So okay.
And Iron Man.
We don't even need to go there yet. Those three alone, right? And then we got stuff like Iron Man and Tikal and Return to 36, just waiting in the wings.
It's not counting Wu-Tang Forever.
Yeah, it's not counting Wu-Tang Forever. I don't think there's any producer in hip-hop that we could say did that massive amount of work in that small period of time at that quality. Yeah.
How about this? Like, let's take 95, for instance, Mike. Let's take 95, 96. Go look at Preem's work in 95, 96.
Yeah.
And go look at RZA's work in 95, 96. Preem probably has about 20 classic tracks that he made in those 2 years. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Mike, RZA made like 3 or 4 classic albums during that same stretch.
That's why when they were doing the verses, I was like, oh no, I got RZA all day.
People like 95 Primo. I'm like, what you mean 95 Primo? It's like the RZA made Liquid Swords and the Purple Tape and Return to the 36 Chambers in 95. Don't you mean 95 RZA?
on an all-time list, do you have RZA ahead of Primo?
I told you, Mike, I have RZA at number 2.
Okay.
I have him ahead of Kanye.
Okay.
Great RZA. And I would probably objectively have to say Kanye at this point, Mike.
Okay.
If I need a beat, I'm calling Dilla, though.
But you know what it sounds like? From what you're telling me, it sounds like you really put a lot of onus, as you should, in the full album making process.
Mike, it's not... Okay, so this is what I'm saying. No matter how you want to toss it, Mike. In Enter the Wu-Tang, Only Built for Cuban Links, Liquid Swords, and Iron Man, he made 4 top 50 albums in 4 years.
Yeah.
Show me the other person that made 4 top 50 albums in 4 years.
And it's very clear.
Because Niggas for Life ain't a top 50 album.
No, and it's great. It's very clear in music, period. It's much more difficult to make a great album than it is to make a great song. A great album is a collection of great songs.
And then, Mike, if you really start looking at realistically where those albums rank all time, it's like, well, Iron Man's the weakest one of the bunch. Think about what that's saying. The other 3 albums are in most people's top 25.
Straight up. Yeah.
Like Liquid Swords, Into the Wu-Tang and the Purple Tape is in everybody's top 10.
Yeah.
So he's the author of 2 of the 10 greatest rap albums of all time. As a producer, the only person can say that is Dre, right?
Right.
So we got Liquid Swords sitting over here, and we got Iron Man sitting over here.
Yeah.
We got It's for Life and Straight Outta Compton sitting over here. Now, if you can tell me that Straight Outta Compton is better than both of those albums, Mike, but it ain't about the production.
It's about the impact.
Because the production on Liquid Swords and Iron Man is better than the production on Straight Outta Compton and Niggas for Life.
I might gripe with the Niggas for Life one, but definitely Straight Outta Compton.
No.
The Niggas for Life production is pretty great.
It's not better
the production
than Liquid
carried
Swords.
that album. It might not be better than Liquid Swords, but I think it's better than Iron Man production.
Okay, you can say, okay, that's fine. You can give it that. But
Yeah,
Liquid
but
Swords
Liquid
is better.
Swords is-
Liquid Swords production-wise is better than Straight Outta Compton and Niggas for Life, though.
I'm not
Ain't no
mad
damn
at that.
shadow boxing.
Yeah.
I know Living in the World Today on those albums.
I'm
Out
not
your
mad at
damn
that.
mind. No, did you hear a 4th chamber on Niggas for Life? I didn't.
No.
Right. So when
The
you're
best
asking-
beat on Niggas for Life for me is
Appetite for Destruction is mine.
that's pretty great. You know what? I like Real Niggas Don't Die. And Find Them, Fuck Them, and Flee Them too. That shit was hard.
Dude, Daytona 500,
Oh yeah.
Iron Maiden,
Yeah.
Assassination Day.
Yeah. Vernon F with the super chat says,
Winter
"How
Wars.
about Catch a Bad One by Dale the Funky Homo Sapien from the '90s? Catch a Bad One was hard.
Man, I like Boo
I
Boo Heads
love
more.
Dale. Dale was ahead of his time, man.
It's Cube's cousin.
Yeah, Cube's cousin. Dale was like the first. I would say him and Cool Keith, the first, I guess what you would call hip hop weirdos per se. You know what I mean? Like how
Yeah,
the
Dale was different.
Tylers and Pharrells and even Q-Tip, my favorite artist, Move. Like these guys were like the first, as they call it, alternative hip hop artists. KC1 with the super chat says, "Where would you have ranked a Deck album if it wasn't for the flood?" I don't like doing the "if it wasn't" thing. I don't know. I don't know. We don't know what it sounds like. But again,
You want
that's
to know?
another
Now that
thing. The flood is a part of RZA's legacy as well. And
yeah.
even with the flood, he made all those records you're talking about.
I mean, to be honest with you, Mike, and here's what I mean about history.
What's that? Something caught your eye. You good?
No, somebody just sent me something. I need to check up on them in a second. But
Okay, yeah. We'll get
hold on,
it.
where were we? I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought right quick.
I forgot exactly what you said. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat here says, RZA didn't just make beats. He produced the group by placing those 9 brothers together. He also came up with the Kung Fu concept and samples. Very difficult from making beats for a ready-made group. Yeah, it is very different. Because not only did he produce these guys, he cultivated these guys in their careers.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was about to say, Mike. I think Meth is the one that actually suffered from all this because really what happened was because Meth was first in the chamber because he was the biggest, brightest, and best star of the bunch. He never really got a proper re-up with RZA to kind of right the wrong. And so as much as I love Deck Mike, I really think the misstep was that right after Iron Man and before Wu-Tang Forever is that Meth and RZA should have got back in the lab. And then you do Wu-Tang Forever, and then you do Deck.
I wonder why those things didn't happen though, because
right. I think Meth had just become too much of a star, but we needed a RZA Method Man album more than we needed a RZA Deck album in 96-ish, 97-ish. Because the Cow's in December 94, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Iron Man is like August 96, right?
Yep.
So we need to Cal to December of 96. So right after Iron Man, but also too, this could have been why the drought was on too, because it's like what people Ghost now has talked about. It's like, well, the beats for Iron Man ain't like the beats for Liquid Swords or Purple Tape. It's like, first of all, that's never happening again, nigga. All right. So you know that shit. So stop playing. But then the second part of that is that maybe that's why it didn't happen is because really, Mike, the last masterful beat job that I feel like that he did is Iron Man. I like Wu-Tang Forever a lot, but I don't love it production-wise. I really enjoy it.
There's something missing. You could tell that they're out of the first generation phase of Wu-Tang.
They're back together again, but it's like the Kung Fu samples are gone, and they're like
There's a few moments, but yeah, overall, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like the Kung Fu samples that they used, but Mike, and I've always said this, the real problem with Wu-Tang Forever is that if you go back and listen to the first one, Mike, and this is a production thing too. Well, the Jizza and Old Dirty Bastard are all over the first one, and those are his cousins. He's been recording them since a youngin'. Old Dirty and Jizza aren't hardly on Wu-Tang Forever, and that's why it doesn't sound as good. He sounds best sometimes when he's working with his family, like most families are.
Yeah, that's
family's
hard.
Not there. Yeah, Dirt and Jizza not on Wu-Tang Forever. That's what's wrong with Wu-Tang Forever's cohesion.
36
Jizza
Chambers.
Got like 4 verses.
36 Chambers with the super chat says Uncontrolled Substance was not a bad debut album for Deck, and it doesn't get enough love in my opinion. Of course it isn't Liquid Swords or Purple Tape or Supreme, but let's not act like it was Samid. Leroy Green with the super chat says, what up Mike, hope all is well. Coop, write some rhymes, trust me. Do like J. Cole and get some writing drills in.
You don't want me to do that, Leroy. I keep trying to be nice to you, Leroy. I've been writing full songs since I was like about 15, 16 years old, when I used to like first start rhyming, I used to bring like 3, 4 sheets of paper, like front to back covered. Like that's why niggas had to teach me about bars, because I would just like rhyme to the end of time. You don't want to do it.
Gil Thompson with the super chat says, "Rip the Jacobite Cannabis is underrated beat wise and lyrically. Stoop from Jedi Mind Tricks destroyed those beats. The first song, Genibus, is genius. I need to go back and listen to some of that stuff. What I was gonna say though is I've been very critical on the fact of, and Method Man again being my favorite rapper growing up. I think that break that he took from '94 to '98 was just too vast. And you're right, we should have gotten an opportunity for Meth and RZA to re-up, because the flood clearly took a lot of records from Tikal. The touring between, Into the 36 and everything else that Meth had going on between that and Tikal also made Tikal somewhat rushed. You know what I mean? So I think one of the biggest things we have missed in hip-hop history, especially in the 90s, was not getting the 96 or 97 album from Method Man fully produced by RZA.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like that's what we really miss.
Yeah.
And it's like because here's the thing. He literally contributed to making all the other projects great. Think about it, Mike. Who's on Fish?
Yeah.
Who sews up Fish on Iron Man?
Yeah. He's the glue guy.
Look, who sews up Ice Cream and Wu Gambinos on the Purple Tape?
Yeah.
Mike, shadowboxing and living in the world today on Liquid Swords. Rawhide on Return to the 36 Chambers. He shows out.
What are we expecting from an Inspector Deck album in that period? Because honestly, to me, my expectations for Deck's album will be more along the lines of, let's just say, Liquid Swords, right? Like, you're not getting the Ice Cream from Deck. You're not getting the Incarcerated Scarfaces from Deck. You're not getting the Bring the Pain from Deck. You may get a Living in the World Today from Deck, possibly. But you know what I'm saying? It's like you're not getting a Daytona 500 from Deck. You're not.
Because here was my thing is that, and I say this respectfully, and you know how I feel about Liquid Swords, but just for critical consumption. The Deck tracks, the Deck's on Liquid Swords, Mike, I feel like if that record is just the GZA by himself, or if that record is just Deck by himself, the impact of the record is not the same. Mm-hmm. And so because GZA is still a better lyricist and better song maker than Deck, I would have taken more time making Deck's album than even the GZA's album, which RZA took his time to make, more so than the other albums, I think. And that's why you do the Meth Project, too. It's going to come a little bit easier in terms of putting it together and what you're going to provide. Because what you just provided the GZA with, you're going to have to do an even better job with Deck. Like, think about it. Like, and even look at it from this context, Mike. What is Liquid Swords without Ghost and RZA on Fourth Chamber and without Meth on Shadowboxing? And you know how I feel about the GZA, Mike.
And you know what? Again,
without investigative reports.
And maybe these are some things that we could ask True Master. And honestly, I want to interview RZA too. But is him actually putting these guys on these tracks, is that his call, or is it one of those sign-up sheet things like the Dungeon Family did for their album, where it's like they got song titles and they're signing up or whatever? Or is it one of those things where RZA said, I got Fourth Chamber, I need this person, that person, and that person on there? Because if that's part of his production, I think that gives him a leg up on other producers too, because he knows what individuals fit for what. You know what I'm saying? And right, a lot of people ain't have to deal with that.
So think about this. So, 95 Nas is on investigative reports, but we haven't heard it. But if he did what he did on the Purple Tape, Mike, that's why you didn't hear it, because it's kind of like, well, hold on. We love him, but A, we can't let him stunt like this twice on 1 year on the Wu Project, back to back. And also, his verse might have been succinctly better than the other three at the time, because, it's 95 Nas. And nothing against the other three guys, because this is Ghost Ray and GZA. But the song might have sounded better with those three guys together. as opposed to that Nas feature. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Those are the decisions that I feel like he makes. I think the recording process, Mike, is really who steps to the mic, because this is what I'm saying, Mike. Think about it, and this is what I mean about we don't know when stuff gets made. Mike, don't shadowboxing sound like it should be on Takal too and not on Liquid Sword stuff? Don't you kind of feel me?
I think
doesn't that sound like that? Doesn't that sound like the lead single to Takal 2 instead of, the Jizz's fourth single off of Liquid Swords? Because think about it, Labels, Liquid Swords, and Cold World, and I Got You Back got released before Fourth Chamber Shadowboxing. So
I don't know the process, and again, this is something that maybe we can ask True Master or RZA himself. But it feels like maybe Method Man, maybe because he was being stretched with so many features, because I believe he has one of the strongest feature catalogs possibly ever. I think because he was getting stretched so much, making appearances everywhere, he might not have been recording his own stuff as much as the others were. So maybe that part of it was moving slow for him. So to kind of get to your point, or my point about your point, I think maybe shadowboxing being done, and it was during this album sessions, and there wasn't a new Method Man album in sight. The answer was put it on this album. You know what I'm saying?
But this is what I'm saying. Shadowboxing is one of those records
you can hang on to. Yeah.
Right.
But Jizza said, I want this for my album, and you're not gonna tell Jizza no.
Well, he's the head. So
yeah. Because
he's
if I'm
the
Jizza,
one they all originally looked up to, Mike. You got to understand, this is 95, so it's probably like, no, we giving Big Homie that one.
Of course.
And that's cool, but hearing Meth how about this, Mike? How can you hear Meth doing what he's doing on the Purple Tape and on Liquid Swords and even on Fish on Iron Man and not be like, okay, hold on, before we do We'll Take Forever.
How high? And how high?
Yeah. Just before, look, we all about to come back together. No, we got to do this Meth shit over.
Yeah. Rigger Robert, the super chat says, DJ Premier featuring Nas, Regeneration, Game Over.
I mean, Mike, you know what Meth and RZA sound like in 1995, right? You've heard the Razor Sharp mix. I'll be there for you, haven't you? That's what they sound like in 95, Mike. That's what they sound like literally about 6 to 9 months later. Like when RZA started peaking.
James Smith with the super chat says, Deck had the best verse on Guillotine Swords. Poisonous Paragraph smashed the phonograph in half and beat the Inspector Deck on a warpath. I ain't mad at that, but I don't know.
Memorable, Mike, but part of what makes Geet, I told you, Mike, if I was probably picking one Wu-Tang song, like the Wu-Tang Posse Cut record, and by Posse Cut I do mean 4 or more.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's probably the record, Mike, because they all got off, Mike. But I could argue with you and tell you that the Jizz is just as precise at the end as Deck is at the beginning. The nigga don't get mad. I got mad styles of my own, and it's shown when my hands grip the chrome microphone. Verbally, I catch body. Hold on. Verbally, I catch. Hold on. What do you say? Verbally, I catch bodies with cordless shotties. Intriguing them seas, I keep them trained like potties. I bomb facts. My sword is an axe. It's invisible. Dope fiend track, sky's a limit, niggas are timid.
Woo!
Nobody knows how we move like wolves in sheep clothes, producing data, microchips and software, underground and off air, the land of the lost. Notorious hits me from the north.
Yo, everybody went crazy on there. That's a tough one to call. Right. I've always said Jizza, but Jizza's a great closer, probably the best closer in the crew, while Deck is the best starter in the crew.
Yes, best starter and best closer. That's why it's the Posse Cut, and you have your glue guys in the middle with the best. Think about it: the guys with the best chemistry in the middle, best starter, best ender. It's your best Posse Cut.
Whose call was that? Was that something that the guys?
That's what I'm saying. The only thing Guillotine is missing is like Method Man on the hook. like, can we get Meth on a bridge or somewhere? Can we just get Meth talking shit somewhere on the track? Either Meth or Dirty talking shit on the track, and it's like.
But again, I have to know: is that RZA coming up with the fact that, look, we closing with Jizza, we opening it with Deck or whatever, or did the guys do that on their own? If he's a part of those things, that elevates his production. I mean, that's why I want to ask, what's great hip-hop production?
No, he does, because I very vividly remember Meth talking about Wu-Tang Forever, being like, niggas being mad about their bars being cut here or there, as in you might not get this or that. So it's like, how about this? I don't even believe Guillotine probably got recorded in that order. I bet you Ray and Ghost did their verses first.
Probably.
And then Deck did his verse probably
36 Chambers.
Or how about this? What if Guillotine was a deck track and Ray and Ghost just happened to get off on it, and then Jizza came and sewed it up, and it ended up being on the purple tape? But I do feel like RZA is the one that's made those calls.
36 Chambers with the $20 super chat showing love says, Wu's recording process is wild. Whoever's in the room at the time is who is on the track. Heard Meth in the interview talking about whoever is in the room just gets puts on the track at the time, and it's a very fluid process.
Yes, but the order of it is what I'm saying.
Yeah, do you reorder it? You know what I'm saying? Or is it one of those things where, like he said, they're recording it, and then RZA's doing what he does? You know, this is what makes me think that RZA has a lot to do with that part of the process. You remember that $1 Million album, or the one that was being auctioned off? The way that was put together, the guys didn't really know what was going on. They were recording their verses as normal, and RZA and the other guy put all that stuff together. So with that being said, I feel like that may have been the process, possibly the whole time.
Liquid Swords was the evidence because he was like, yeah, Jizza didn't hear his album until it was done.
Well, if that's the truth, then yes, he's putting that together.
Yeah, no. Jizza and RZA, I'll tell you, Jizza didn't hear Liquid Swords till Liquid Swords was done. Most of those tracks were, it's a testament
genius
to both of them. Jizza's such a great lyricist, he just needs the skeleton to the track. RZA's so great and knows his cousin's vocal and what his cousin wants to do so well, the cuz can just leave the fucking studio and cuz will finish sewing the shit up for him.
So RZA had that kind of vision where he could just, get guys to track. It's like, look, let me put it together. All you do is rap.
I think I Got Your Back was the only thing that wasn't like skeleton. I Got Your Back was recorded clearly before the rest of the album because I Got Your Back is like late 93 and Liquid Swords is like November 95, but everything else you can tell RZA pieced together.
Leroy Green.
It might be the best production job if you know the behind the scenes between the two. Like the better beats on the purple tape, the production job is Liquid Swords.
You know what? I got to give production props to Return to the 36 as well. Like, to be able to produce a full album for Old Dirty at that time period, I can't even imagine how. Because you hear those stories about how difficult it was to get Old Dirty to do a verse or two.
Have you heard the fantasy story?
Yeah, I've heard that story. So RZA made a full album, and it's great. And that's the thing where it's like, nigga, that might be the greatest production job ever.
6 sessions to get a verse out this nigga. He got an album out of this dude, a long album.
A great album.
It's great, too.
Yeah.
Think about what he had to do. No, but think about what they had to do. And this is what I mean by RZA putting it together. Now, you know Jizza wrote most of that album, right?
Mm-hmm.
So think about it. Jizza had to write it. RZA had to produce it. So
it's more difficult that they wrote some stuff.
The hard part was getting them to record.
Yeah, exactly.
One guy wrote it, the other guy produced it. It literally was a family affair.
Leroy Green with the super chat says, RZA is a legend, no doubt, but I feel like Primo dropped more individual bangers. As far as the RZA sound, I feel like the late 90s just drowned that out. I can feel that. I can feel that.
The polished sound may have drowned it out, but the records aren't better or more classic. Like if you play those 2000 records against the Wu-Tang records,
but you can hear the frustration in Wu-Tang Forever and them talking about rapping bullshit, R&B. That's them reacting to the fact that shit's getting real shiny. Honestly, Wu-Tang Forever was attacking the shiny suit era before it happened.
Well, they seen it coming, Mike.
Yeah. They were really coming at No Way Out, honestly. And that's what it felt like Wu-Tang Forever was really coming at. It's like, okay, yeah, this shiny shit over here, we're here to educate. Wu-Tang's for the children. And then I think the bottom went out when Puffy won Album of the Year at the Grammy. And, of course, Old Dirty went out there. So, I got dressed up for this shit. Wu-Tang's for the kids. That's talking about No Way Out and where the direction of things were going.
No, he said he liked Puffy. I like Puffy, and Puffy's good.
Puffy's good, but Wu-Tang is for the children.
Wu-Tang is for the kids.
Exactly. And but again, I think
he didn't say anything wrong.
He didn't say anything
wrong. Like he said, what we were all feeling in the streets.
You're right, but I think that time period.
He is good, but Wu-Tang is for the children. It's like yes.
Do you not think, though, that time period kind of buried RZA's sound and production and it didn't resurface to maybe the Alchemists and Kanye's came around?
Well, here's what I'll tell you about that respectfully is that, well, you're only as funky as your last cut. And what happened after Wu Tang Forever was that you really didn't see him executive produce a project again either. Like there's a lot of different production on Capadonna's The Pillage. And quite frankly, Wu Tang Forever is not Enter the Wu Tang. And it did feel extended, and somewhat because it felt extended, felt watered down slightly. And so what really
And New York
happened,
radio didn't support it either. We got to put that out
well, it's obvious things that happened,
there.
but
We
what
got to tell
really,
history properly.
but what really happened though, Mike, is that Mike, when you make 3 of the 25 greatest albums of all time, and then you make another classic after that, the chances that you're gonna make another classic after that, Mike, you know what I'm saying?
I
So
mean,
there is
honestly,
some sort of
there's no way to go but down from there.
there is some sort of demise going on, Mike, because it's like I love me some Iron Man. Don't nobody ever confuse Iron Man with Liquid Swords and the Purple Tape, though. On classic level, though, it's a classic, but it's a classic that's up here. Liquid Swords, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think Supreme
Wu-Tang-
Clientele is more
Wu-Tang-
comparable
And
than
Wu
that.
Tang Forever, for as great as Wu Tang Forever is like, well, that shit's not Iron Man, Mike. So there is some decline going on.
And again, when you made some of the greatest albums ever, decline's not really decline in a general sense. I mean, people will talk about the fact that Michael Jackson never made Thriller again. Well, nobody else did. So you can't even really picture that as a quote unquote decline. You know what I mean?
The problem with, like, how about this? The problem with bad is Thriller and Off the Wall.
Exactly. If Bobby Brown makes Bad, and I say this respectfully, it's the best thing he ever made. And Bobby Brown's a great artist.
I don't know, Mike. I don't know. I happen to think My Prerogative might be
Yeah,
better.
I think My Prerogative might be slightly better, but it would be the second best thing he ever made. If Ralph Tresvant makes Bad, he's a superstar.
Oh, if Ralph Tresvant made Bad, he don't even go back to New Edition, like ever. At least Bobby and Johnny gonna come back. Ralph was not gonna come back if he made something like Bad, or even My Prerogative. He was not gonna come back.
I think My Prerogative is probably Babyface's second or third most impressive production writing job ever. I say number one is his Tony Braxton, album. That's incredible work. And I might say number two is the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack. That's incredible.
Mike, I was actually about to say, number two is my number one. The Waiting to Exhale soundtrack, Mike, is the best soundtrack ever. And it's arguably
it ain't
the
Purple
best.
Rain, but I know what you mean.
I don't count Purple Rain as a soundtrack. I mean, actually, I feel saying if we're going technical, it's Purple Rain.
Yeah.
But, Mike, the writing, to write those songs
for that many artists,
talented women.
Yep.
Like, think about it, Mike. First of all, I always tell people it's like, Exhale and Why Does It Hurt So Bad is the last time you hear Peak Whitney, right?
Yeah.
People forget that. That's the last time you hear Peak Whitney. Mike, Brandy's best song might be on there. Sitting in My Room is Brandy's best song, in my opinion.
Possibly Mary's best song is on there.
Arguably Mary's best song is on there, Not Gonna Cry. Mike, got TLC's whole style down to a T with This Is How It Worked. Got Tony Braxton's whole shit down on Let It Flow. My Funny
Forget about Let It
Shaka
Flow.
Khan, Mike.
Yeah. It's incredible. Incredible piece of work. One of the most incredible writing jobs from anybody, not just Babyface.
No, I think it's one of the most incredible writing jobs ever, quite frankly.
Yeah, I agree.
Period.
And I feel the same way when and I bring up the Tony Braxton album. When I watch Boomerang and that whole Love Should Have Brought You Home thing that Halle Berry says in the movie, it makes me wonder what came first. It's like chicken and an egg type thing. Did this nigga see a premiere of this movie, watch this movie, and make this song after this? If so, that's genius. And if he made a song this great and they actually made the scenes after that, that's genius too. It's amazing.
No matter which way you want to toss it, man.
Matt Max with the super chat says the GZA is, he said the GZA is a better lyricist than Deck. He's elite. He's elite, but one. I heard Deck fit. Deck's fit your mind made up. I guess he's talking about Deck's verse on Got Your Mind Made Up verse. You said he is the best from that camp. No. Yes, GZA is the elite lyricist in Wu-Tang, especially in that time period. Mad Max also says, and Killer Priest right there as a lyricist too. Killer Priest is dope.
None of them are the Jizza, though. Picture blood baths and elevator shafts like these murderous rhymes tight from genuine craft. Check the print. Swear veteran. Spark the lettering. Slow moving MCs is waiting for the editing. A liquid soluble that made up the chemistry. A gaseous element that burnt down your ministry. Herbal vapors and biblical paper smoking exodus. Every square yard is plush. Fuck a screw face, photo sessions, facial impressions, facial expression leaves impressions. Try to keep a sharp nigga guessing. Nah, them niggas not the jizz on the mic.
No, okay? You're right.
I
think the thing is, man, Jizza, the gift in the sword with Jizza is clearly the lyricism is top notch. But the guys that are around him are so entertaining, and he doesn't match their entertainment value. So people will look at it in a different way. Like growing up, I used to be like, why are they saying that Jizza's the best lyricist? Because the guys in the Wu would say Jizza's their favorite rapper. Method Man would say that. Ghost would say that. Ray would say that back then. And it's like, you get it now when you break down the words and you break down all that. But if you see it from an entertainment standpoint, it's way more entertaining to be like, I bomb atomically. Socrates' philosophies and hypotheses can't find how we rock from these mockeries. Lyrically perform armed robbery. Fleeing with the lottery. Possibly they spotted me. But Jizza does this every verse. Like literally.
Mike, I'm swinging swords strictly based on keyboards. Unbalanced like elephants and ants on seesaws. I bomb raps that attack like the Japs at Pearl Harbor. MCs be out like bank robbers, fleeing the scene to be a sole survivor. D was the getaway driver. Try to dip, but he died. I socialize on vocal vibes. On track, stabbed up a razor sharp knife. Criminal subliminal mind. The rappers find it hard to define it, but narrow is the gate for fat tapes. Mike, he just keep going. It's like,
crazy.
Oh my God. I don't think people understand. He is a Rakim, Nas, Black Thought level lyricist.
He is. Straight up.
Not just an A1 lyricist, Mike, an A1 all-time lyricist.
Because even the approach, what you just spit sound like some Rakim shit. Like the way the rhymes build. Like they just build and keep going.
Mike, Tommy ain't my motherfucking boy. When you fake moves on a nigga you employ. Think about that. Like...
36 Chambers with the super chat says, Jizza is the best lyricist, but other Wu members and affiliates have stated that Deck is the best overall member of the group as an all-around MC. I agree. Let's see. Where we at? I see some more super chats. Mad Max says, I bet Jizza is not a better lyricist than Deck. Huh. I disagree with you. We need evidence. Pat with the super chat says, RZA's so great. Wu fell off because his burnout. He was always changing his formula. Each project was different. Preem was never able to develop like that.
Well, he had different artists. He had different artists to feed. But that's part of why he's better than Preem. It's like, no, he made shit from Math, Dirt, Ray, Ghost, Jizza, like...
I'm going to say this, and I ain't saying this to knock anybody. I'm just keeping it all the way real. Since you got Dre at number 1, RZA at number 2. If Dr. Dre had Wu-Tang, do you think he's putting out those records, those solo albums that RZA was able to put out? Or do you think that Ghostface would be on the shelf somewhere?
Let's say that he has the same abilities and has the same team. This is what I mean about the greatness of it. How long do you think it's going to take Dre to put these records out?
Exactly.
Because the only time that we've seen Dre not take forever to make something is the Chronic and Doggy Style.
Yeah.
That's the only proof that we have, Mike, that he'll make something like... And that, to a lot of people, Mike, that's when his zenith, when he took off. Because if you look at it, it's like, well, no one do it better. And then Niggas for Life, and then the Chronic, and then Doggy Style. But after that, Mike, it don't seem like, even if the work was there, it doesn't seem like the output of what was putting out was happening as fast. That's what I'm saying, Mike. Think about it. When did Deep Cover come out? 91?
Mm-hmm.
Chronic is...
92? December 92. I think Deep Cover might be 91 as well, but it might be earlier part of 91.
Right, so it's like, there's a little bit of gap. That's what I'm saying, Mike. It's like, no.
But, I will give Dre this credit. Niggas for Life is 91 as well. So, we can say that, too.
No, that's what I mean. So no, I'm saying there was a point where he worked like that, but this is what I'm trying to say. Into the Wu-Tang is December of 93, right? to Cal is December of 94. Then Dirt comes out in March of 95. Then Purple Tape comes out like in July. Then Liquid Swords comes out in November. And then Ghost comes back out in 96. So from 6 projects. But Mike, the level of the projects, now let's go look at Dre's run. Let's start with Straight Outta Compton, what, 88?
Yep.
And then let's go to the DOC's No One Can Do It Better, 89. Right? And then let's go to Niggas for Life, 91.
Yep.
Chronic, 92.
Yep.
Doggy Style, 93.
Yep.
RZA's album's better. Outside of the Chronic and Doggy Style, them other albums ain't winning versus RZA's albums. That's what I'm saying. Is it's like, as much as I love No One Can Do It Better, how about this? The DOC would be the Jizza of the crew. You think No One Can Do It Better is fucking with Liquid Swords? Because it's not.
I love No One Can Do It Better, but I'd rather listen to Return to the 36. My personal opinion.
That's what I'm saying.
Now, and let's go another level, right? If RZA acquires Rakim in a similar way that Dre did, do you think anything comes out of it?
Nigga.
I'm just saying.
Nigga. Come on. Come on.
Yo, man, I wish Kanye would have been able to acquire Rakim, man. That's what we need, because Kanye's going to put something out, man. I will give RZA that, though. RZA never took on anybody and didn't put him out.
I mean, his biggest failure might be that he didn't finish the job for Deck or for Meth. It's really the only thing you can hold against him as a producer, because he did do a couple of Gravedigger projects, Sons of Man, Killer Army. Like, he did contribute to those projects, and he should have focused on Deck and Meth. And the Kappa album should have been better if you're not going to give us a Deck or Meth album.
Well, I hate we didn't get that Black Knights of the North Star in the way that I wanted it. But again, that's just me being a deep, deep Wu-Tang fan. Pause. But 36 Chambers says, Preem made safe hip-hop beats. Whoo! Where has Preem taken chances and changing his formula and sound? No disrespect, but no innovation sometimes knocks you down a peg. I think that's a very interesting statement. I can agree with that as somebody who is hip-hop fan, you know, from the South, Cass and all that, and they were taking all kind of chances. I love Preem's beats, but I've said that before too in my mind, like, okay, a lot of these sound similar. I get it though. He has a sound, that's his formula, and that's what people go back to. But it is kind of safe, even though it is hip hop, right? It is kind of safe because you know what you're getting with Preem, and that's cool though.
Well, here's what I would tell you, Mike, is that I think the thing that hurts him most as an all-time great producer isn't even that. It's the fact that all of his contemporaries that he is compared to have made more easy to certify classic albums than he has. Because as a producer, he has classic tracks that go toe-to-toe with anybody. But the classic album conversation, Mike, Moment of Truth is the only classic that he has where everybody's like, it's a classic.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, well, here's the fact of the matter. No, everybody think that Straight Outta Compton a classic, right?
Yeah.
Everybody think No One Can Do It Better a classic.
Yep.
Everybody think Niggas for Life a classic. Everybody think The Chronic a classic.
Easy
Everybody
does
think Doggy Style a classic.
Easy does.
Like, you feel what I'm saying when it comes to RZA? Listen to the albums that we just named. That's what Primo's lacking. It's not even the beats. It's not even that staying in the format of it. It's like, go pull out Primo's classic albums. Go pull out Kanye, RZA, and Dre's classic albums. It's like, oh, Primo about to take an L right here, and a big one. That's the problem.
Yeah, Pat with the super chat says RZA put out Meth, Dirt, Ray, and Jizza between November 94 and November 95.
Yes,
nigga, that's
these are facts.
Crazy.
No, Mike, December. Tikal came out in December of 94. That's what I'm saying. Liquid Swords came out in November of 95. So it was actually
that's
11
literally
months.
A year. Less
11
than that.
months.
Yeah.
4 projects, Mike, and 2 of those projects are top 20 rap albums.
What do you say to someone that says Hard to Earn is a classic?
It is, but it's not a classic like those other albums that we named. That's why I'm saying it's like if Hard to Earn is your second best rap album as a producer, what is Hard to Earn beating as a second best classic? Because think about it, Moment of Truth ain't beating no Enter the Wu-Tang or no Purple Tape.
No.
Right. It's not beating no Chronic or no Doggy Style or no Straight Outta Compton.
I
What
would
is
say
Hard to
that
Earn and
Moment of
Moment of Truth?
Truth.
That's what I mean. And think about what it looks like if he doesn't make Moment of Truth in '98. Like, really?
Moment of Truth is great, and it's my favorite
But it's
Gangstar
super
album.
important to his legacy too, Mike.
But
That's
it's
what I'm saying.
definitely it's like a top 25 to 30ish album, where those other ones are 10
Like I
to
told
20.
you, like beat for beat, it's Dilla. But I was like, show me Dilla classic stuff again, and that's why I don't have him like as high as he probably should be.
You got the album making process extremely high, as you should, and
The
and
producer.
a lot of people feel the same way, and that's why we had Kendrick so high. It's all album making stuff.
Like how about this? It's like, and Q-Tip said it himself when he heard Dilla. It's like, well, he sound like me, just better, and he do. But I got Q-Tip higher because you want to know why?
He got low end
I ain't
theory.
never seen because I ain't never seen Dilla make the low end theory or Midnight Marauders. I watched Q-Tip do that.
And as great as I think
Dilla have a low
Fantastic,
end theory as a production job, Mike.
I love Fantastic. It's his best production effort
That
from
ain't
beginning to
nothing close
end,
to
but
the
it's
low end
not
theory
those.
production.
It's
I'm
not
sorry.
those Tribe albums. It might not even be
It's not
People's
even.
Instinctive.
It's Beats, Rhymes, and Life level.
It's better than that. It might not even be People's Instinctive, because even People's Instinctive got Benita. I mean,
Can
Can I Kick It?
Unless I'm Wallen and El Segundo, no. It's
Nah,
beating that. Like it's not. How about this? If that's Dilla's best production job, that's what I'm saying. It's like, well, that's not messing with Q-Tip's production job on the first 3 Tribe albums. As a matter of fact, Mike, a lot of people felt like the Tribe got worse when Dilla started making beats for him.
That's the narrative. I will say this.
Is it, Mike, narrative or is it the truth?
It's the truth.
Okay.
It's the truth. I'm gonna say this though. I think album making is more important for producers than it is for artists, and I think it's
agree.
very important for artists because at least with artists, feature runs and things like that can kind of offset. I mean, we got Method Man out there. You know what I mean? Like Method Man's not the album maker, quote unquote, that Kendrick Lamar is, but we know who Method Man is as an MC in relation to Kendrick, and it's a conversation just based on all those abilities, right? But with a producer, if you got somebody who made, let's just say, 4 classic albums, like they say Kendrick did, you can't really put them up against a spot producer who doesn't have any classics.
Right. How about this? Part of why Meth even where he is ranking wise, Mike, is because, well, when he gets to guys like KRS-One and Nas and Jay, it's not like the talent's not there comparable, Mike. It goes into, well, classic albums, classic songs. It's like, oh, well, damn, Meth even about to lose those to those guys.
Yeah.
Because those guys have made so many classic songs, because they've made so many classic albums. Because you know what classic albums have, Mike? Classic songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you need to go back and check out Fantastic Volume 2, though. Excellent album, especially from production end.
Now, Fantastic. All I'm saying, how about this? Production-wise, Mike, you think Fantastic 2 is better than Iron Man production-wise?
No, I don't.
Mike, Iron Man is probably RZA's 4th or 5th best production job.
No, that's true. And that's Dilla's best production job.
So, right.
I think it's slightly below it. Not too far from it, but it's slightly.
You can be the best beat maker. That's why I'm saying, like, the most talented person doesn't always end up being, like, the greatest. Like, it's not how this game works.
Leroy Green
but
with the super
in fairness to Dilla ain't had no damn Method Man, Raekwon, and Ghostface, and Jizza, and Deck, and Old Dirty Bastard falling out the sky. It's a lot of dope MCs falling out the sky in Staten Island.
I mean, and all that stuff sounds great on paper, but RZA still had to organize it, and he still had to actually give these guys a path. Because I don't think just anybody who's a great producer could have actually did what he did with Wu-Tang.
That would actually be my last
level.
knock, Mike, is that I actually think that what happened on Wu-Tang Forever is that, well, they were all stars and he couldn't manage them at that point. He could manage them when they weren't stars. He couldn't manage them when they were stars. That's what actually happened.
It's like a college coach versus a pro coach.
Yeah, but think about it, Mike. That's not Meth in 94, 95, 96.
Everybody's hungry.
Ray? I mean, people didn't even realize how great Ray was until the summer of 95, Mike. It was 2 full years, Mike. We didn't realize who Ghost was there. Mike, Ghost didn't even get his due till fucking Wu-Tang Forever.
No, really.
People were talking more about Deck than they were about Ghost before Wu-Tang Forever, Mike, and that was with him being on the purple tape and making Iron Man. They were still screaming Deck.
He was still hungry, and that's why he was able to make what he made. Leroy Green with the super chat says Primo's sound may be the most fundamental, but it's still better than I'm sorry, it's still better more times than most producers. He popped up and probably 100+ times with fire overall. I think the fact that Preem got placement with some of our greatest MCs all time helped a lot. But even with Preem's basic approach or just bases approach, his stuff aged incredibly well. Like you listen to MCs act like they don't know right now, that shit bangs.
See, but that's what I mean is like don't sleep on Preem because it's like no, he has a certain sound and a certain style, Mike. How about this? If you were to put all the great producers and put a playlist of their stuff together, his playlist would sound the best, though.
I think so. And it's a consistency there. It's a consistency with a variety of our artists. And that's one thing that Preem has that the others really don't. Like, we don't have Biggie over Dr. Dre's shit. Like, we don't have, like Nas and Dre, when they connect, it's not great. When Preem and Dre connect, it's great.
But this is what I mean. You can play Crooklyn Dodgers.
Yeah.
But then you can play Boom by Royce.
Mm-hmm.
But then you can play New York State of Mind. But then you can play 1,000,001 Questions. But then you can play Unbelievable. But then you can play Come Clean. But then you can play You Know My Steez.
Yeah.
Then you can play Mass Appeal. It's like, no. He can dance. He can dance.
You can play the Common record. You know what I'm saying? 6 Cents.
You can play the 6 Cents. Right.
Incredible.
You can play the Limp Bizkit record all in together.
Yeah.
Right. You can play the Christina Aguilera record. That's what I'm saying. It's like, no. And it's going to sound beautiful together.
Mm-hmm.
The DJ, the classic joint.
Yeah.
You can play it. It's gonna ride.
Well, I definitely want to make my list now after we've had this conversation. Got some things to kind of go on.
I think I might be Mike. I feel a little DJ Premier station head maybe coming on tomorrow, Mike. I feel a little station head pregame coming on. Might have to put a little Primo list together, Mike.
Yeah, man. Primo
I can't put a RZA list together, Mike, because I have to take you out. I have to take you and Death Row down. It's kind of funny. We ended up talking about Pac, Suge, Death Row, and we're actually having a Death Row Wu-Tang battle. We ended up talking about our station head today, like unintentionally.
Right. These guys are always relevant.
Let's get some Death Row Wu-Tang talk today.
Yeah. This happened naturally. This wasn't programmed.
That's what I'm saying. Mike Nas is like Memory Lane, Friend or Foe 98, The Evils, Bring It On.
Yeah.
10 Crack Commandments, Kick in the Door.
Mean.
Oh, he got shit. He got shit.
Before we get out of here. Yeah, so ghetto. Before we get out of here, though, the block party, man, that's coming up Juneteenth. And I was thinking, I had an idea. I think that we should come with some shirts for the block party, kind of like the Freaknik shirts back in the day or whatever. You know, and for the people who, are going to be attending, and the people who, I guess, are across the seas or whatever, and would like to attend but can't, we actually have like a According to Hip Hop block party, you know what I'm saying, shirt, a design. What do you think about that?
If we can make it happen in time, let's make it happen. I'm thinking about I think we should just maybe make it a charitable event and just let everybody in.
Okay.
Just open up the doors. LT and I were talking about it. Let's just open up the venue for people.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. I just want to serve the community, so.
So yeah, that event is going to be Saturday. Was it June 17th?
Saturday, June 17th, 1 to 5, 1959 Metropolitan Avenue. Everybody come out.
We're gonna be out there. A week before that, it's also gonna be the Rappers Delight 50 Years of Hip Hop. That's by the National Black Music Festival.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, it's gonna be 2 weeks of hip hop. And I'm thinking, I don't know. I'll see what we can do, getting together a shirt or something like that, you know what I'm saying, to kind of commemorate the block party and make sure that, we do this year in, annually rather. And just be able to commemorate the moment where people can say they were there. Or
I'm actually I'm gonna share this right quick before we get out of here, Mike. I actually Voyage ATL magazine has reached out to me about interviewing me for the Hidden Gems section. I'm going to be talking in the interview, according to hip hop, of course, education and information on Fire's disease, which is something I want to start heightening and raising awareness for, and the Juneteenth event. I'm trying to get all of that in this week, so it'll actually like maybe make it before the Juneteenth event, but be expecting an article on Coop from According to Hip Hop to be in Voyage ATL very, very soon. Trying to get bro to get some shirts made. I need an According to Hip Hop shirt because they let me take 4 shots. So I want I want a shirt for Fire's disease. I want According to Hip Hop shirt. Black Bad Gang, of course. And then, Coop just has to stunt one good time. So just a little stunt. Might put the Versace back on.
What kind of According to Hip Hop shirt? Just the basic joint?
Never one you give me, Mike.
I thought you had some. I thought you had some. We'll get some brand new ones going.
No, I don't have shit. I'm about to pull up on my photographer in about 2 hours so we can start like working out, getting the shots done in the next couple days. So yeah.
Okay, and for the people who did get their free shirts too, man, make sure you send out, email us a picture of you in the shirt, info@accordingtohiphop.com, and we're going to go ahead and get Coop laced up real quick. I'm about to go to my shirt man right now.
Shout out to the whole FDL compound. Shout out to Fred.
Yes, sir.
They're still doing the Wednesday class. Fred's manager is trying to get us plugged to some stuff up in New York. So New York, According to Hip Hop, might be coming up there this summer. I can't tell you what we're going to be coming up there yet for, but shout out to Felicity for trying to put it all together for us. Felicity does a really dope podcast herself, Mike. I think she got more followers than us, so I don't know if we need to shout her out. She got plenty of she getting to it.
Shout out to her. She getting to it. Pat with the super chat says.
Yeah, shout out to her and her husband. She just got married, so congrats.
Oh, yeah, yes. Congratulations. Yes. Pat with the super chat says, the I Shot Ya beat is better than the Who Shot Ya beat. I ain't mad at that.
I felt like they're both great beats.
Trackmasters, that's actually one of my favorite Trackmasters beats. I love that I Shot Ya beat.
Trackmasters beat.
You know what? I'm with the fans on this one, Coop. I like the I Shot Ya beat better than the Who Shot Ya beat.
I don't know if I'm going that far. I would have to hear them back to back, which I haven't probably done in eons. But you want to know what, Mike? After I get done with this Preem dig, I might have to do a Trackmasters dig. We need to give Trackmasters some love, Mike.
They got to get some love, man, because niggas is sleeping on Trackmasters. Everybody talking about this Puffy and Jermaine thing as they should. But Trackmasters have been left out of the whole versus process for whatever reason.
You want to know what it is? Puffy needed a whole Hitman team to take Trackmasters out. Because like 94, 95, 96 is kind of like Trackmasters if you really look at it. It ain't really Bad Boy and Bad Boy's Hitman until No Way Out and Life After Death. That's 97.
Mm-hmm. And I think the Trackmasters should be able to play Juicy before Puff is, or they should cancel it out.
And this is what I mean, because it's like those guys were doing tracks for other people. Like Nasheed Myrick, the producer of Who Shot Ya, he did T.O.N.Y. for Capone and Noriega for the War Report.
Yep.
So it's like
he's pretty good.
He's one of my personal favorite producers, Mike. Like if I'm making a list of the top 20 producers, Nasheed Myrick's on my personal list.
He's great.
He's great.
We should interview him as well. You want to interview Nasheed Myrick? I think we should make that happen.
Only if he's going to answer questions that he probably don't want to answer.
You don't think he's going to answer the question?
I said that he probably don't want to answer.
Yeah.
I never say what a man will or won't do. We can reach out to him, but I'm going to ask him the real questions. It's not going to be we're not tossing softballs around here. We asking real questions. He did produce Who Shot Ya. Did you not hear my diatribe earlier? Yeah, I got questions.
Okay, well let's see if those questions can be answered.
We were 13, Mike. It kind of changed the way we looked at things. Yeah, I got questions.
Well, let's try to set that up, and the fans are usually the most powerful engine when it comes to this stuff. So y'all reach out as well and see if you want to do an interview with According to Hip Hop. So we got to talk to him. We got to talk to True Master. And I want to talk to RZA. We should talk to RZA. Because a lot of these things that, the mystery and the legend, rather, behind RZA and his production job with Wu-Tang and the solo efforts, I would love to know parts of the process. I think it's Hip Hop 50. We need to document that stuff.
Let's start with True Master, then we'll work our way up.
Oh, definitely. We'll work our way up. But yeah, we'll start with True Master. Since he in Atlanta. All right. Well, y'all enjoy the rest of your day. We'll be back tomorrow. Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow.
Oh, Mike, Kendrick did drop a song. I think him and Baby King dropped a song, so we need to listen.
Oh, shit.
React to it tomorrow.
Okay. I mean,
did you hear it?
I didn't hear it. When did it come out?
Well, Mike, here's the thing about it. I don't know if you know how this rap thing works. You want to keep my attention, you need to be making dope ass music.
I'm about to listen to it now. So it came out.
You can do that.
When did it come out?
I don't know. You tell me.
I hadn't heard anything about it. I mean,
I ain't been checking for him like that, Mike. When did it come out? Hold on. It's ridiculous.
It must have came out like yesterday, so I don't think it came out Friday. We would have known that. Is it fire, y'all? I mean, based on the fact that I ain't heard nothing about it,
it might have only been a day. It might have only been a day.
Okay, well, we're gonna see. I'm not gonna.
What's it called?
I don't know. Let's see.
Range Brothers, is that it?
I'm not gonna pass judgment on it until I hear it. Let's see. Kendrick Lamar. It's called The Hillbillies, I think. I think that's what I see in the chat. Yep, single, The Hillbillies, and there's a video for it. I think it dropped today because, all the articles that I see are like from 3 hours ago, 2 hours ago. I see people saying it's mid. I ain't gonna listen to y'all yet. He said it just came out. Should we listen to it and then jump back? No, we'll talk about it tomorrow.
No, hold on. I mean, if you want, let's just wait. We're coming right back.
We'll talk about it tomorrow. We want to sink in a little bit.
We're going to give it a day because here's what happens. If we were to do it right now, because of some of the things that we've said, and by we, I mean me, if we were to not give it a favorable review,
he'll say
his legion of delusional fans that actually think that he made a quality project last year will come and castigate us for not giving it time to settle and marinate. So let's take the day to listen to it and see what it is.
Somebody said y'all gonna hate it. Don't be so judgmental. We probably will love it. Sounds like it might be weird because a lot of people are saying it's mid. And you know what? This is what I will do before we go. This is what the articles that I'm pulling up are saying about it. Variety says Kendrick and Baby Keem team up for the Hillbilly single and video. Okay. Let's see what Variety says about it. Or do you want to see what Pitchfork says about it?
Pitchfork has been doing a better job.
All right, let's go to Pitchfork. I want to see what they say about it. Again, I'm not going to pass judgment. They said Baby Keem and...
a couple drive-bys on them to make that happen, though, Mike.
Right. Baby Keem and Kendrick have reunited for another new song, The Hillbillies, produced by Evil Guinan. Comes with a casual music video, directed by Neil Farmer. Okay, The Hillbillies samples Bon Iver's Panic era song PDLIF. Okay, let's see what they think about the record.
They're sampling Bon Iver?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't see anything else. I guess got to just listen to it.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, we're going to holler at y'all tomorrow. And we're going to have a full review and some more things about tomorrow's show. It said the mid-steppers is wilding. Peace, y'all.